Have you ever noticed how much the expectations people have of you can influence your actions? It's a subtle yet powerful force that shapes how we interact with the world, whether we're aware of it or not. Picture this. A teacher believes in a student's potential more than anyone else, pushing them to excel, while another teacher might not see the same spark and thus doesn't offer the same encouragement. Over time, the student's performance often mirrors the teacher's belief, not because the student is inherently more capable in one case than the other, but because the belief in their potential changes the way they approach challenges. This is the core of the Pygmalion Effect. Before we dive deeper into how this works, take a moment to think about your own experiences. Have you ever felt that a person's belief in you made you strive harder, or conversely, that someone's doubt in your abilities held you back? If you're curious about how psychological effects like this shape our everyday lives, make sure to hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, and ring the notification bell. You won't want to miss the insights we're about to uncover in the chapters ahead. Now let's go back to the Pygmalion Effect. Named after the mythical sculptor who carved a statue so beautiful he fell in love with it, only for the statue to come to life. This effect shows how expectations can, in essence, bring out the best or worst in us. The fundamental idea is simple. When others expect us to succeed, we often do. When they expect us to fail, the same pattern emerges. But it's not just about others believing in us. It's about the behaviors that follow those beliefs, both ours and those around us. Psychologists have studied this phenomenon extensively. In the 1960s, researchers Robert Rosenthal and Lenore Jacobson conducted a groundbreaking study with elementary school children. They told teachers that certain students were on the verge of an intellectual growth spurt, though in reality, these students were selected at random. By the end of the school year, those students did show significant academic improvement, simply because their teachers had higher expectations for them. The teachers' belief in their potential led to more encouragement, more support, and ultimately, more success. So, how does this work psychologically? It comes down to self-fulfilling prophecies. When someone believes we can achieve something, they may treat us differently. They might offer us more opportunities, more feedback, or more encouragement. This treatment boosts our confidence and drives us to perform better. On a deeper level, the belief in our abilities activates the parts of our brain that deal with motivation, emotion, and memory. When people believe in us, they help us build confidence, which in turn leads to increased effort and higher achievement. This is the power of positive reinforcement, but it doesn't always work in the other direction. The Pygmalion Effect is not a one-size-fits-all phenomenon. If expectations are low, we might internalize that doubt. In relationships, work environments, and even educational settings, if someone doesn't believe in us, we may start to believe that we're not capable. This can lead to disengagement, lower self-esteem, and eventually, a lack of motivation to prove ourselves. It's as if the very thing that holds us back is the belief that we are not enough. In a job where your manager constantly questions your decisions and doubts your capabilities. Over time, you may begin to second-guess your ideas, become less confident in your judgments, and even fail to speak up during meetings. This subtle change in your behavior is the result of someone's low expectations influencing your mindset. It's not just about the tasks at hand. It's about how you begin to see yourself in that context. Real-life scenarios where the Pygmalion Effect plays out are not just limited to education or work. In intimate relationships, a partner who consistently encourages you to grow can help you become a better version of yourself, while someone who doubts your potential may lead you to question your worth. The effect can be particularly powerful when we are vulnerable, like when we are trying to overcome personal challenges or accomplish something new. For example, let's say someone has struggled with self-confidence for most of their life. They're in a relationship where their partner constantly reassures them, believes in their abilities, and encourages them to try new things. Over time, this belief can chip away at the walls of doubt they've built up around themselves. They start to believe that they are worthy of success, that their dreams are achievable, and they take risks they never would have before. This is the quiet magic of the Pygmalion Effect at work. But not all expectations are positive. In fact, the Pygmalion Effect can be quite manipulative when used to control or influence someone's behavior in a negative way. This is where the darker side of the effect emerges. The idea that expectations can be set not just to help someone achieve greatness, but to subtly steer them toward failure. In toxic relationships or workplaces, someone's negative beliefs can undermine the person they are meant to be supporting, creating an environment where the individual's growth is stunted by the very people who are supposed to help them flourish. Think about the effect on children who grow up in an environment where they are consistently told they are not good enough or that they can't succeed. Over time, these messages become ingrained in their self-perception, leading to a lack of motivation and a cycle of underachievement. This cycle can perpetuate for years, sometimes even for generations, as negative beliefs are passed down. So what can we do to harness the power of the Pygmalion Effect in a positive way? The first step is recognizing its influence. Once we are aware of how our expectations shape the behavior of those around us, we can use that power to uplift others. In a professional setting, setting high but realistic expectations for our team can help them reach new heights. In a personal relationship, offering encouragement and belief in each other can foster growth and connection. But we must also be mindful of how we manage our own expectations, both of ourselves and others. Expecting too much can lead to disappointment, while expecting too little can prevent us from reaching our full potential. Striking the right balance is key to ensuring that the Pygmalion Effect works in our favor, helping us achieve greatness without falling into the trap of unrealistic or unkind expectations. As we reflect on the power of belief and expectations, it's clear that this effect is not just about others. It's also about how we see ourselves. If we believe that we can succeed, if we act as though we are capable of greatness, we are more likely to step into that potential. When we feel supported and encouraged, we take on challenges with more resilience. So, the next time you feel unsure about your abilities, remember that belief is a powerful motivator. If others can see your potential, maybe it's time you saw it too. And then, there's another way control slips in. Hoovering, the pullback into toxicity. Have you ever found yourself drifting away from a toxic relationship only to suddenly feel yourself being pulled back in? It's as if there's an invisible force at work, drawing you back to a place where you know you shouldn't be. You might have broken away, set boundaries, and yet, in moments of vulnerability, you find yourself drawn back into the same destructive cycle. This is what psychologists refer to as hoovering, a term that's all too familiar to those who have experienced manipulative relationships. Imagine this. You've ended a relationship with someone who was emotionally draining, perhaps even abusive. You've started rebuilding your life, feeling lighter, more at peace, when suddenly you get a message. It's from the person you've been trying to distance yourself from. They're apologizing, claiming they've changed, promising that things will be different this time. They say all the right things, tap into your insecurities, and maybe even start to remind you of the good times you shared. Before you know it, you're considering giving them another chance. This is hoovering. Hoovering gets its name from the vacuum cleaner brand Hoover, suggesting a forceful pull that sucks someone back into the situation. The key here is manipulation. The manipulator tries to suck you back into the relationship, often under the guise of love, remorse, or change. It's a psychological tactic that preys on emotions, often targeting the vulnerable spots that can make us second-guess our decisions and judgments. The underlying mechanism of hoovering involves emotional manipulation. The manipulator uses tactics like guilt, affection, and promises of change to make you feel responsible for the other person's well-being or happiness. These tactics may seem sincere on the surface, but they often mask a deeper agenda, maintaining control over you. For many who fall victim to hoovering, the manipulator's behavior becomes a cycle of highs and lows, leaving the victim constantly questioning whether the manipulator is genuine or if they're being drawn into the same harmful patterns. It's easy to feel conflicted in these situations. The manipulator may shower you with affection or attention, making you feel like you are the only one who truly understands them. In some cases, they might even make promises of change, claiming that they've learned from past mistakes. These promises often pull at the heartstrings, causing the victim to feel empathy or hope for a better future. But that hope is a trap, a tool to regain control. Consider a real-life scenario. You have a friend who constantly undermines you. They're the one who takes credit for your achievements, belittles your ideas, or makes you feel unworthy. Eventually, you get fed up, decide to cut ties, and begin to distance yourself. But then, they reach out to you, pouring on the charm, expressing how much they miss your friendship, and promising they'll change. They acknowledge their past mistakes, make you feel guilty for even thinking about moving on, and before long, you find yourself letting them back in. What's happening here is hoovering, a subtle, manipulative effort to re-establish dominance by exploiting your emotional weaknesses. The effect of hoovering is far-reaching. It can create a toxic cycle where you constantly feel torn between the desire to break free and the pull of the manipulator's attention. This cycle can leave you emotionally drained, confused, and unsure of your own worth. Over time, the manipulator's hold becomes stronger as they continue to make you feel responsible for their happiness or for fixing what's broken. The longer you remain caught in this web, the harder it becomes to extricate yourself. So, what can you do when you find yourself being hoovered back into a toxic relationship? The first step is recognizing the signs. You need to become aware of the manipulative tactics being used against you. Take a step back and ask yourself, is this person really apologizing because they've changed? Or are they just trying to regain control? Are their promises of change genuine? Or are they merely a means to an end? These are tough questions, but they are necessary to break free from the cycle. Another crucial step is reinforcing your boundaries. Once you've set a limit with someone, don't allow them to cross it. If they continue to manipulate you, it's important to maintain your distance, even if it feels uncomfortable or challenging. The more you stand firm in your decisions, the more empowered you'll feel. It's also vital to surround yourself with a support system, friends, family, or even a therapist who can help you see through the manipulations and keep you grounded in reality. As you go through this process, you may find yourself questioning your own emotions and decisions. It's normal to feel conflicted, especially when someone who once held a place of significance in your life comes back with a promise of change. But remember that true change comes from consistent actions, not empty words. If someone truly wants to change, they will demonstrate it over time, not just in a moment of desperation. At the same time, it's important to be compassionate with yourself. Being manipulated through hoovering can be emotionally exhausting, and it's easy to feel like you've failed if you fall back into the cycle. However, this is not about failure. It's about learning, growing, and finding the strength to set better boundaries in the future. The more you practice recognizing these manipulative behaviors, the easier it will become to spot them early on and protect yourself from falling back into the trap. Reflection is key in breaking free from hoovering. Think about the patterns you've seen in your past relationships, whether romantic, familial, or platonic. Have you experienced this cycle before? Do you find yourself being drawn back to toxic people, even after trying to move on? If so, ask yourself why you're being drawn back. Is it because you truly believe they've changed? Or is it because their pull feels familiar, even if it's unhealthy? The more you understand the psychological forces at play, the better equipped you'll be to resist their manipulation. Hoovering is a powerful form of control, but it's not invincible. By recognizing the signs and reinforcing your boundaries, you can break free from toxic patterns and regain control over your life. Remember, you deserve relationships that are built on trust, respect, and mutual growth, not manipulation. And then, there's another form of control that can slip into our lives in a far subtler way. Authority bias. When authority shapes our decisions, Have you ever found yourself agreeing with someone simply because they hold a position of power or expertise, even when something about their argument did not quite sit right with you? This tendency is more common than we might think, and it is deeply ingrained in the way our brains process information. It is called authority bias, the inclination to trust and follow the opinions of authority figures, even when those opinions may not be entirely accurate or logical. This psychological phenomenon is one that many people are unaware of, but it can significantly shape the decisions we make in our everyday lives. Imagine this scenario. You go to a doctor for a routine checkup. The doctor tells you that a certain treatment will be effective, and you trust them without questioning it. After all, they are the expert, right? You follow their advice without seeking a second opinion, even if there is a nagging feeling that something does not quite add up. This is authority bias in action. We are conditioned to trust experts, whether they are doctors, teachers, CEOs, or even politicians. But what happens when that trust is misplaced? What happens when the authority figure we rely on is wrong, or worse, manipulative? The basis of authority bias lies in the way our brains are wired. From a young age, we are taught to respect those in power. This could be a parent, a teacher, a boss, or any other figure of authority. Over time, this trust becomes ingrained in us. When someone with authority speaks, we listen. Our brains do not automatically question their words. Instead, we accept them as truth. This can be beneficial in many cases. After all, experts typically have more knowledge than we do, but it also leaves us vulnerable to manipulation. When authority figures misuse their position, they can lead us astray, often without us even realizing it. This bias is not just about blindly trusting experts. It is also about how authority figures influence our decisions in ways we might not fully understand. In a work environment, for example, employees often defer to their managers, believing that their experience and position make them the ultimate source of truth. A manager may make a decision that does not seem right, but employees might not question it because of their position of authority. Similarly, in politics, voters may support a candidate simply because they hold an esteemed title, even if that candidate's policies are questionable. This is authority bias influencing our decisions on a larger scale. Real-life scenarios where authority bias plays a role are everywhere. Take advertising, for example. When a well-known celebrity endorses a product, we are more likely to trust that product's effectiveness, simply because we respect the celebrity's authority in their field. Think about the countless times we have seen actors or athletes promoting everything from skincare products to fitness equipment. The authority they hold in their respective industries lends credibility to the product they are endorsing, regardless of whether it is genuinely effective or not. This is authority bias at work. Our trust in the authority figure causes us to trust their recommendations without considering alternative viewpoints or conducting thorough research. Another example can be found in social media. Influencers often hold significant authority over their followers, many of whom are eager to adopt the lifestyles, products, and opinions promoted by their favorite online personalities. This is why influencer marketing has become so successful. Brands know that when an influencer speaks about a product, their followers are more likely to trust and purchase it, not necessarily because it is the best option available, but because of the influencer's authority. This dynamic extends beyond advertising. It shapes our worldview and guides the way we make decisions in both our personal and professional lives. The danger of authority bias is not just about blindly following others. It is about losing the ability to think critically. When we place too much trust in authority figures, we stop questioning their ideas and decisions. We become passive recipients of information rather than active thinkers. This passivity can lead to poor choices, missed opportunities, and even unethical behavior. For example, in a corporate environment, an employee might witness unethical behavior but remain silent because the superior involved is a trusted authority figure. In such cases, authority bias not only distorts decision-making, but can also enable harmful actions to go unchecked. Breaking free from authority bias requires a conscious effort to challenge the influence of authority in our lives. The first step is recognizing when we are experiencing it. If you find yourself agreeing with someone just because they hold a title or position, ask yourself, do I truly agree with their opinion, or am I just deferring to their authority? Are they right because of their expertise, or are they simply using their position to persuade me? These questions can help you examine the validity of the information you are receiving and decide whether it is worth accepting without further scrutiny. It is also important to embrace critical thinking. Do not be afraid to question authority. Research, ask questions, and seek out alternative perspectives. Experts are not infallible, and sometimes they can be wrong or biased. By thinking critically, you can make better informed decisions and avoid falling into the trap of authority bias. Remember, authority bias is not always a bad thing. We rely on experts for advice in many aspects of our lives, and in most cases, their knowledge and experience are invaluable. However, it is essential to recognize the limits of authority and be willing to challenge ideas, even when they come from trusted sources. The key is balance, trusting authority when it is warranted, but also questioning it when necessary. This balance can help you make decisions that are not only informed but also free from undue influence. And then, there is another form of influence that can shape the way we think and act. The priming effect, when exposure changes our behavior. Have you ever noticed how certain words, images, or experiences seem to influence your thoughts and actions, often without you even realizing it? For example, after seeing an advertisement for a particular brand of soda, you might suddenly crave that very drink, even if you had not thought about it before. Or perhaps after hearing a specific word, you begin to think of related concepts and ideas. This subtle influence is known as the priming effect, the phenomenon where exposure to a stimulus affects your response to a later, related stimulus. Imagine you are walking down the street and you pass a coffee shop. The smell of freshly brewed coffee wafts through the air, and almost immediately you feel the urge to stop in for a cup. What you might not realize is that this smell is priming your desire for coffee. It is not just the smell itself. It is the association between that smell and the enjoyment of drinking coffee. This association is something your brain has developed over time, and the more often you encounter it, the stronger the connection becomes. The priming effect works on a very subconscious level. Your brain is constantly processing information, much of it without your conscious awareness. When you are exposed to a stimulus, be it a word, image, or even a person, that stimulus can trigger related ideas, memories, or behaviors. This happens automatically, and often, you are not even aware that your actions have been influenced by something you encountered earlier. One of the key mechanisms behind priming is how our brain stores and retrieves information. Our memories are connected in networks, meaning that one memory can trigger another, and so on. For example, if you have had a good experience with a particular brand of toothpaste, you might be more likely to choose that brand again, even without thinking about it consciously. The memory of your positive experience with the product primes you to make the same choice in the future. Priming is not just about consumer choices. It can shape our behavior and decisions in many different areas of life. For instance, have you ever noticed how certain environments make you feel a particular way? Walking into a well-lit, cheerful room might make you feel more positive and energized, while entering a dimly lit, messy room could leave you feeling more down or lethargic. This is the priming effect in action. The environment primes your mood and sets the tone for your behavior without you even realizing it. In a work setting, priming can be particularly powerful. Imagine that you are preparing for a meeting with your boss. If you have had positive interactions with this person in the past, your brain is primed to expect a similarly positive encounter. This can shape the way you approach the meeting, making you more confident and open. On the other hand, if you have had negative interactions with your boss, you might feel anxious or defensive even before the meeting begins, because your brain has already primed you to expect negativity. The priming effect influences how you feel, think, and behave, often before you have had a chance to assess the situation consciously. Priming can also impact our judgments and perceptions of others. Have you ever found that your first impression of someone influences how you view them in the long term? This is a form of priming as well. If you meet someone and they are dressed in a professional, polished manner, your brain is likely to prime you to see them as competent and capable, even if you do not have all the information about them yet. On the other hand, if someone appears disorganized or unkempt, your brain might prime you to view them less favorably. This initial impression can stick with you, coloring your perceptions of that person in the future, even if your judgment was based on a single moment of exposure. Real-life scenarios of priming are abundant. Consider the example of a political campaign. If a candidate runs an ad that features strong, positive images, such as a family gathered together at dinner, your brain is primed to associate that candidate with feelings of warmth, security, and family values. Even if the ad does not directly address policies or issues, the positive images and associations can shape your perceptions of the candidate. Priming can be incredibly powerful in these settings, influencing public opinion without the audience even realizing it. Priming is not limited to external influences. It can also come from within. Your internal dialogue and self-talk can prime you to view situations in a particular way. If you wake up in the morning already feeling stressed and worried about the day ahead, your brain is primed to notice stress-inducing factors and overlook positive aspects of your environment. On the flip side, if you wake up feeling positive and hopeful, your brain will be more likely to focus on opportunities and solutions throughout the day. This self-priming shapes not only your perceptions, but also your behavior and reactions. The impact of priming can be subtle, but it is profound. It shows how much of our decision-making is influenced by factors outside of our immediate awareness. This influence is not inherently bad. Priming can help us make quicker decisions based on past experiences and associations. However, it can also lead us to make biased decisions, especially if we are unaware of the underlying influences. By understanding how priming works, we can become more mindful of the factors that shape our perceptions and behaviors. One way to protect ourselves from the negative effects of priming is to develop self-awareness. If you catch yourself reacting in a certain way to a stimulus, whether it is a smell, a person, or a situation, ask yourself, what is influencing me right now? By bringing these unconscious influences to the forefront of your awareness, you can take a step back and make more informed choices. It is about taking control over the unconscious forces that are shaping your behavior and decisions. Priming can also be used intentionally in positive ways. For example, if you want to cultivate a more positive mindset, surround yourself with positive stimuli, uplifting music, motivational quotes, and supportive people. By consciously priming yourself for success, you can enhance your mental and emotional well-being. On the other hand, if you are trying to break free from negative habits or thoughts, you can prime yourself by exposing yourself to environments and experiences that challenge your current mindset. Ultimately, the priming effect is a reminder of how much our environment, our experiences, and the messages we encounter shape our thoughts and actions. It is a subtle force, but it is powerful. Whether you are navigating the world of advertising, making decisions at work, or managing your own thoughts, being aware of how priming influences you can help you make more conscious, intentional choices. And then, there is another subtle influence that shapes our lives in unexpected ways: time constraints. The power of urgency. Have you ever been faced with an urgent deadline and found yourself making a decision more quickly than you would have liked? Perhaps you rushed through an important task or made a purchase without thoroughly considering all the options because you felt pressured by time. This is a classic example of how time constraints can manipulate our decisions, often leading us to act impulsively or without careful thought. Time constraints are a form of psychological manipulation that creates a sense of urgency in order to influence our behavior. Whether it is a limited time offer, a pressing work deadline, or even a personal situation where you feel like time is running out, the pressure of time can compel us to make decisions faster, often bypassing the thoughtful, deliberate decision-making process we would normally employ. Imagine you are shopping online and you find an item you like. Just as you are about to check out, a notification pops up. Only 2 left in stock. This is a form of time constraint. The message creates a sense of urgency, making you feel like if you do not act quickly, you might miss out on the product. Even if you did not originally intend to buy it, the fear of losing the opportunity can push you to make the purchase. This tactic is used regularly in marketing and sales because it triggers a psychological response known as loss aversion. We fear losing out on something more than we enjoy gaining something of equal value, so time constraints exploit that fear to drive decisions. The psychological mechanism behind time constraints lies in how our brains process urgency. When we are given a limited amount of time, our brains shift into a fight or flight mode, where decisions are made more quickly, and the emotional part of our brain takes precedence over logical reasoning. This is why we can sometimes make poor decisions when we feel rushed. In these situations, we tend to rely on mental shortcuts or heuristics, which allow us to make decisions faster, but often at the cost of accuracy or thoroughness. Time constraints can manifest in many aspects of life. In the workplace, for example, deadlines can create a similar sense of urgency. You might find yourself working long hours to meet a project deadline, but in the process, you may sacrifice quality or skip important steps in order to get the job done quickly. The pressure of time often prevents us from considering all of our options and weighing the consequences, leading us to make hasty decisions that we might later regret. One area where time constraints are frequently used is in sales and marketing. Limited time offers, flash sales, and countdown timers are designed to create a sense of urgency that encourages consumers to act quickly. Think about those flash sale emails you might receive, 50% off today only. These messages push us to make quick decisions, often without taking the time to evaluate whether the deal is truly worthwhile. The idea that we might miss out on a good deal clouds our judgment, and before we know it, we have made a purchase we did not need. Real-life scenarios where time constraints influence our behavior are all around us. Have you ever been in a situation where someone pressures you to make a decision quickly? Perhaps a friend is inviting you to an event with a limited RSVP window, or a coworker is rushing you to finalize a decision for a group project. The pressure to act fast can lead to decisions that you might not have made if you had the luxury of time to reflect and weigh the pros and cons. But the influence of time constraints is not always negative. In some cases, having a deadline or a time limit can help us stay focused and productive. For example, when you have a clear timeline for a project or task, it can motivate you to take action and avoid procrastination. In these instances, time constraints act as a tool for productivity, helping us break through inertia and get things done. The key difference between using time constraints productively and falling victim to their manipulative power lies in self-awareness. When we are aware of how time pressure is affecting our decisions, we can take steps to mitigate its impact. One way to do this is by giving ourselves time to pause and reflect before making a decision, even if it means stepping back from the situation for a moment. In high-pressure environments, taking a deep breath and asking ourselves whether we are being driven by genuine urgency or by artificial time constraints can help us regain control of our decision-making process. Another effective strategy is to challenge the sense of urgency created by external pressures. If you are faced with a sales offer that creates a sense of now or never, ask yourself, is this truly the best time for me to make this purchase? Can I afford to wait and think about it? By shifting our mindset and questioning the urgency, we can resist the impulse to make decisions based on fear of missing out, rather than on thoughtful consideration. It is also important to recognize when time constraints are being used to manipulate us. For example, in a work setting, a boss might push you to meet an unrealistic deadline, knowing that the stress of time pressure will force you to prioritize speed over quality. In these situations, it is crucial to advocate for yourself and communicate the need for reasonable timelines. Recognizing when time constraints are being used manipulatively allows you to set boundaries and ensure that your decisions are made based on thoughtful, logical reasoning, not panic. In our personal lives, time constraints can influence important decisions, such as whether to accept a job offer or make a major purchase. The fear of missing out on a limited time opportunity can cloud our judgment and push us to act impulsively. But by being mindful of this psychological tactic, we can take steps to slow down, assess the situation, and make decisions that align with our long-term goals. Ultimately, time constraints are a powerful tool, both in everyday life and in manipulative settings. By becoming aware of how time pressure influences our decisions, we can make better choices that are grounded in logic and self-awareness, rather than in the fleeting emotions of urgency. In a world that is constantly speeding up, the ability to slow down and think critically is more important than ever. And then, there is another subtle manipulation that can shape our choices, often in ways we do not expect. The framing effect, how choices are shaped by presentation. Have you ever noticed how a single word, or the way something is presented, can completely change how you perceive it? For instance, imagine you are deciding between two health insurance plans. One plan is described as offering 90% coverage, while the other is described as leaving you responsible for 10% of the costs. At first glance, these might seem like very different descriptions, but in reality, they both communicate the exact same thing. Yet, the way the information is framed, either as 90% coverage or 10% responsibility, can have a significant impact on how you make your decision. This is the framing effect. The way information is presented can influence your choices and perceptions, often without you even realizing it. Framing is all around us. Whether in advertising, politics, or even personal relationships, the way information is presented can influence how we understand and react to it. This psychological phenomenon works because our brains are wired to be influenced by how choices are framed, even when the actual content or substance of those choices does not change. In other words, we do not always make decisions based on the facts. We often base them on how those facts are communicated. Take, for example, the way food is marketed. You have probably seen phrases like low-fat or sugar-free on food packaging. These labels are framed in a way that makes the product seem healthier, but often the actual nutritional content is not significantly different from other products. However, the way these labels are framed triggers a perception of healthiness and can push you to make decisions that align with that perception, even if the facts do not necessarily back it up. Framing works because of cognitive biases. We are often influenced by how information is presented because we rely on shortcuts or heuristics to make decisions quickly. Our brains are constantly looking for ways to save time and effort when processing information, and framing is one of those shortcuts. The more familiar and emotionally resonant a framing is, the more likely we are to choose based on it, even if the objective facts remain the same. A key mechanism behind the framing effect is how our emotions and memories play into decision-making. When something is framed positively, like a product that is 80% fat-free, we associate that with a positive outcome. Conversely, when something is framed negatively, such as contains 20% fat, we tend to see it as undesirable, even though both pieces of information refer to the same product. This difference in emotional reaction is what drives our choices. In a real-life scenario, consider a car advertisement that promotes a vehicle as having enhanced safety features versus one that describes the same vehicle as minimizing risk. The two phrases might seem similar, but enhanced safety appeals to your desire for security and peace of mind, while minimizing risk brings to the forefront a more cautious and negative mindset. Even though both descriptions are referring to the same feature, the way the information is framed can make one option feel safer or more appealing than the other. Framing also plays a crucial role in political decision-making. Political campaigns use framing to shape how voters perceive candidates, policies, or issues. For instance, a candidate's healthcare policy might be framed as affordable and accessible, which evokes a sense of inclusivity and fairness. Alternatively, the same policy could be framed as increasing government control, which might trigger feelings of skepticism or fear. The framing of a message can significantly alter how voters respond, even though the core message remains unchanged. This effect extends to our social interactions as well. In conversations, the way we present information to others can shape their reactions. If you are discussing a controversial topic, and you frame your argument in a way that emphasizes the benefits or positives of your viewpoint, your listener is more likely to align with you. On the other hand, Framing your argument around the negatives or risks might make them more resistant or defensive. The same idea is being communicated, but how it is framed determines how it is received. The framing effect also plays a critical role in the way we make decisions in the workplace. Imagine a manager offering two different options to a team. One option is presented as a high-risk, high-reward opportunity, while the other is described as a low-risk, low-reward situation. Even though both options present similar challenges, the framing encourages employees to view the high-risk option as more exciting and the low-risk option as more conservative. In this scenario, framing can influence how employees approach decision-making, even if the actual outcomes of each choice are uncertain. Recognizing the framing effect in your own life is crucial to making more informed decisions. When you are faced with an important decision, whether in business, relationships, or purchasing a product, ask yourself how the information is being framed. Is it being presented in a way that emphasizes the positive aspects? Is it highlighting the risks or the potential costs? By understanding how framing works, you can look past the emotional pull of a certain presentation and focus on the facts that matter most. Another strategy to counteract the framing effect is to consider the same information from multiple perspectives. If a product is being advertised as a limited-time offer, take a moment to ask yourself if you would still consider the purchase if there were no time constraint. If you are deciding between two job offers, try to evaluate each one without focusing on the positive or negative framing of the benefits. The goal is to detach from the emotional appeal of framing and make a decision based on your true priorities and values. Framing is a powerful force that shapes our decisions and perceptions. By understanding how it works, we can become more aware of how our choices are influenced by the way information is presented to us. Whether it is a marketing tactic, a political campaign, or a conversation with a friend. The framing effect is all around us. By recognizing and questioning how information is framed, we can make more thoughtful, objective decisions that align with our true goals and values. And then, there is another way our perceptions can be shaped, often without us even realizing it. Fear-mongering, the manipulation of anxiety. Have you ever been in a situation where you felt scared or anxious because someone was warning you about a potential danger that seemed exaggerated or unlikely? This is an example of fear-mongering, a manipulation tactic where fear is intentionally amplified to influence behavior. Fear-mongering is a powerful psychological tool used to manipulate our emotions, often by spreading exaggerated or unfounded fears. It is a tactic that has been used throughout history, from politics to advertising, and it continues to shape our decisions today. Imagine you are watching the news, and a headline reads, "Experts warn that a new virus is spreading rapidly and could soon reach your area." The story is accompanied by images of people wearing masks, empty shelves in grocery stores, and reports of rising cases. Even if the threat is low or manageable, the framing of the information creates a sense of panic and urgency. You might find yourself rushing to buy supplies, avoiding public spaces, or feeling anxious about something that, in reality, might not be as pressing as it seems. This is fear-mongering at work. The psychological mechanism behind fear-mongering relies on our natural response to fear, what psychologists call the fight or flight response. This response is an evolutionary survival mechanism that prepares our bodies to react to threats by either fighting or fleeing. When we are presented with frightening information, our bodies and minds react as if we are facing an immediate danger, even if that danger is not as real or immediate as it appears. Fear-mongering exploits this natural reaction, making us feel like we must act quickly to protect ourselves, even if the threat is blown out of proportion. Real-life examples of fear-mongering are everywhere, especially in the media and advertising. Political campaigns often use fear-mongering to sway voters. For example, a political candidate might warn that their opponent's policies will lead to economic collapse, job loss, or even national security threats. The exaggeration of these fears can make people feel that they must vote for one candidate to avoid an impending disaster, even when the actual risks are much smaller than portrayed. In marketing, fear is often used to sell products or services. For example, You might see an ad for a home security system that emphasizes the dangers of burglary with the tagline, "Protect your family before it is too late." The ad plays on the fear of potential harm to your loved ones, convincing you that you need to buy the security system immediately to avoid the risk. Similarly, health products or supplements are often marketed by playing on our fears of disease or aging, suggesting that without their product, we are at great risk of suffering. Another place where fear-mongering can be seen is in the context of insurance. Life insurance companies often use language that plays on the fear of death or financial insecurity, framing the purchase of insurance as a necessary step to protect your family from an uncertain future. While the product may be valuable, the way it is marketed, by emphasizing the fear of loss, can influence people to buy insurance they may not need or cannot afford. In social and personal contexts, fear-mongering can also occur in relationships. Someone might manipulate another person by exaggerating potential risks or dangers in their life. For instance, a partner might say, "If you leave me, you will never find someone who loves you like I do," using fear of loneliness or failure to control the other person's actions. By invoking fear, the manipulator is able to create a sense of dependency and control, all while making the other person question their ability to make decisions without the manipulator's influence. The impact of fear-mongering is significant, as it can cause us to make decisions based on panic rather than rational thought. We may act impulsively, make choices that do not align with our best interests, or even isolate ourselves from people or situations that are not truly harmful. Fear-mongering can also lead to heightened stress, anxiety, and a sense of helplessness, making it harder for us to think clearly and make decisions from a place of calm. So, how can we protect ourselves from falling prey to fear-mongering? The first step is recognizing when fear is being used to manipulate us. If someone or something is trying to make us feel afraid in order to sell us something, convince us of a certain belief, or push us to make a hasty decision, we need to pause and question the validity of the fear. Is the threat as real as it is being portrayed? Are there facts and evidence supporting the fear, or is it being exaggerated for effect? When faced with fear-mongering, it is also important to take a step back and assess the situation calmly. We can often reduce our emotional reaction by reminding ourselves that fear is a natural response, but it is not always an accurate reflection of reality. By asking questions like, "What is the real risk here?" or "What evidence do I have that this is true?" we can begin to separate our emotional reactions from the facts.
Another helpful strategy is to seek out alternative perspectives. If you are hearing a lot of fear-driven messages from one source, try to find other viewpoints. Talking to friends, family, or experts who can offer a more balanced perspective can help you make a more informed decision. It is also important to avoid making decisions in the heat of the moment.
Taking the time to reflect and gather more information can prevent you from making choices driven solely by fear. In situations where fear-mongering is being used to control or manipulate you, it is essential to set boundaries. Whether it is in a personal relationship or in the workplace, you have the right to make decisions based on your own understanding, not out of fear. If someone is trying to manipulate you by playing on your fears, do not be afraid to challenge their tactics and assert your own independence. Ultimately, the goal is to become more aware of how fear is used to influence us and to develop strategies to protect ourselves from being manipulated. By recognizing the signs of fear-mongering, taking a step back to assess the situation, and seeking out alternative viewpoints, we can make more informed, rational decisions that are not driven by anxiety or panic. Fear is a powerful force, but it is also a tool that can be used to control our behavior. Understanding how fear-mongering works is the first step in taking back control and making choices that are based on reason, not fear. As we become more mindful of how fear influences our decisions, we can break free from manipulation and take charge of our own lives. And then, there is another subtle tactic that influences how we see the world and make our choices. Creating a sense of urgency, the pressure to act now. Ever rush to make a decision, only to look back and think, "What was I thinking?" It's wild how that pressure can mess with your head, right? That's the power of urgency. It's a sneaky trick that makes you feel like you have to act fast or miss out. You see this all the time in marketing, sales, and even in relationships, where people are pushed to make snap choices without really thinking things through. It's all about getting you to jump in without giving it a second thought. Imagine this. You are browsing an online store and you find a product you like. As you are about to add it to your cart, a banner appears. Only 3 left in stock. Order now before it is gone. Suddenly, you feel this rush of urgency. Even if you did not plan on purchasing the item right away, the message triggers a sense of scarcity. It is not just about the product. It is about the idea that if you do not act now, you might miss out. This technique is powerful because it taps into our fear of losing out, something called FOMO, fear of missing out. The idea that a limited opportunity may vanish at any moment compels us to act, often without fully considering whether we truly need or want the item. The underlying psychological mechanism behind creating a sense of urgency is rooted in our need for control and fear of loss. As human beings, we naturally want to feel like we are in control of our decisions. When we are made to believe that an opportunity is fleeting, it creates a sense of urgency that overrides our natural decision-making process. In other words, we are pushed to act quickly, even if that means bypassing our usual deliberation or critical thinking. Real-life scenarios where a sense of urgency is created are widespread. Think about the sales environment, for instance. Car dealerships often use limited-time offers such as, "This week only, get 0% financing." The idea that the offer will not be available for long creates an urgency to buy, even if you do not actually need a new car. The salesperson might tell you, "You are getting a great deal right now, but this offer ends at the end of the month." Even though you may have no intention of making such a significant purchase right away, the sense of urgency makes you feel like you need to act before the opportunity is gone. Creating urgency is also a common tactic in political campaigns. A candidate may send out a fundraising email with subject lines like, "Only 24 hours left to double your donation." The time pressure encourages potential donors to act quickly, even if they do not have the time or resources to thoroughly consider whether they want to contribute. By emphasizing the limited time frame, the campaign capitalizes on the urgency of the moment, pushing people to make decisions they may not have made otherwise. In relationships, the sense of urgency can also be a manipulative tool. Imagine a partner telling you, "If you do not commit to me now, I will find someone else." This message creates an artificial sense of urgency, pressuring you to make a decision before you are ready. The urgency to avoid loss or rejection can override your better judgment, leading to a rushed commitment that you might later regret. One area where urgency plays a significant role is in the workplace. Managers may create deadlines that feel urgent, often pushing employees to complete projects or make decisions before they have had the time to assess all the factors. While some deadlines are necessary and productive, the pressure of time can lead to rushed decisions that are not well thought out. For instance, you might make a hasty decision on a project proposal just because you were told to submit it by the end of the day, even though you know the proposal could be improved with a bit more time and thought. Creating a sense of urgency works because it taps into deep-rooted psychological fears. The fear of missing out, fear of loss, and fear of not being in control can all cloud our judgment. When we are in a hurry, we are more likely to make decisions based on emotion rather than logic. We might act impulsively, not because it is in our best interest, but because we feel pressured to do so. So how can we protect ourselves from the manipulation of urgency? The first step is recognizing when it is being used against us. If you are made to feel like you have to make a decision immediately, take a step back. Ask yourself, why do I need to decide right now? What is the real urgency here? Often, there is no real rush. The urgency is just a tactic to make you act before you have fully considered your options. A helpful strategy is to give yourself permission to take time before making a decision, especially for big or important choices. You can say to yourself, "I will take 24 hours to think this over," or "I will check back in a few days to see if this opportunity is still available." By giving yourself this time, You take the power back and give yourself the space you need to evaluate the decision logically rather than emotionally. Another way to fight against urgency manipulation is to create your own sense of control over the situation. Instead of reacting impulsively, set your own deadlines and timeframes for making decisions. This can help you feel empowered to choose what is best for you rather than being pressured by external forces. If someone is pushing you to make a decision on the spot, it is perfectly acceptable to say, "I need time to think about this," and walk away. The sense of urgency is often more about the other person's agenda than about your actual needs. Finally, remind yourself that there will always be more opportunities. If you are constantly thinking that you must act now or you will miss out, you are likely to make decisions out of fear rather than out of thoughtful consideration. Whether it is a sale, a job offer, or a personal relationship, there will always be more chances. The idea that something is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity is often a manipulation to get you to act quickly without thoroughly evaluating the situation. Creating a sense of urgency can be an effective tool for driving action, but it is also a manipulative tactic that preys on our fear of loss and our desire for control. By recognizing when urgency is being used to push us into quick decisions, we can protect ourselves from making choices that are not in our best interest. Taking the time to reflect, regain control, and evaluate the situation can help us make more deliberate, thoughtful decisions that align with our long-term goals. And then, there is another subtle pressure that influences our actions in ways we may not fully recognize. The halo effect, when one trait shapes our view of everything. Did you meet someone and thought they were amazing right off the bat, only to realize later that your first impression shaped all your opinions about them? Maybe they had a killer smile or walked with a lot of confidence. Whatever it was, you put them on a pedestal based on that one great trait. That is the halo effect. It's this quirky thing where our overall view of someone gets skewed by just one characteristic, making us judge them more favorably in every way, even if their actions do not back it up. Pretty wild, right? For example, imagine you meet someone at work who is exceptionally well-dressed and articulate. You might immediately think, they must be very competent, even if you have no other information about their actual performance on the job. This is the halo effect in action. That one positive trait, their appearance and communication skills, colors your perception of their abilities in other areas. You may give them the benefit of the doubt on tasks they are responsible for, simply because you perceive them as capable based on that first impression. The halo effect does not just apply to individuals. It is also prevalent in the way we perceive products, companies, and even entire groups of people. In marketing, a brand with a strong reputation for quality in one area can easily extend that positive image to other products they offer, even if those products are of lesser quality. For instance, if a technology company is known for producing excellent smartphones, consumers may assume that all of their products, such as laptops or tablets, are equally great, without critically examining the specifications or reviews. The halo effect leads people to make generalized judgments based on one positive characteristic, whether it is a person's appearance, a company's reputation, or even the packaging of a product. One of the most fascinating aspects of the halo effect is how it shapes our perceptions unconsciously. We often do not realize that our positive judgment of one trait is influencing the way we view everything else about a person or object. This bias can affect our relationships, hiring decisions, and even consumer behavior. For example, in a job interview, an interviewer may form an initial positive impression based on the candidate's appearance, demeanor, or even their charisma. This impression might lead them to overlook flaws in the candidate's qualifications or performance in the interview itself. Effect makes it harder for us to separate objective evaluation from subjective feelings and first impressions. Similarly, in personal relationships, the halo effect can influence how we perceive a partner or friend. If someone has a particularly positive trait, such as being affectionate or thoughtful, we might overlook other negative aspects of their behavior, such as being disorganized or forgetful. This bias makes us more tolerant of flaws in people we like or admire, and it can prevent us from addressing issues that might need attention. We might excuse behavior that we would normally find unacceptable because we have been influenced by that single positive trait. The halo effect can also play a major role in leadership. A leader who is charismatic and inspiring can be perceived as an effective decision-maker, even if their actual leadership abilities are lacking. Their magnetic personality overshadows their shortcomings, and their followers might overlook flaws in their decision-making or leadership style. This phenomenon can have far-reaching effects, particularly in the workplace, where employees may follow the leader's direction without questioning their decisions because the leader's charm or likability clouds their judgment. Real-life scenarios are full of examples where the halo effect shapes our thoughts and behaviors. In education, a student who consistently performs well in class might be seen as hard-working and diligent, even if they struggle with certain aspects of their studies. Teachers who are influenced by the halo effect may give these students more opportunities or be more lenient with their mistakes. This bias can lead to unfair advantages for some students while leaving others, who may be equally capable but not as immediately likable, at a disadvantage. In business, the halo effect can influence hiring and promotion decisions. An employee who is always punctual, well-groomed, and displays strong communication skills might be seen as an all-around high performer, even if their actual work quality or productivity is only average. Managers may overlook performance issues because the employee's positive traits, such as their appearance or personality, create a glowing, positive image of them overall. Conversely, an employee who does not stand out in terms of appearance or personality might be judged more harshly, even if their actual work is exemplary. So, how can we protect ourselves from the bias of the halo effect? The first step is to become aware of its influence. Whenever we form a first impression of someone or something, it is important to ask ourselves whether we are letting one characteristic overshadow our judgment of the whole. Are we allowing someone's likable personality to cloud our assessment of their skills? Are we basing our opinion of a company's products on their reputation in one area, even though other products might not be as good? By recognizing when the halo effect is at play, we can slow down and reassess our initial impressions. Another way to counteract the halo effect is by focusing on objective criteria and facts. In situations like job interviews or performance evaluations, it is important to separate subjective feelings from objective assessments. For example, if you are evaluating someone for a promotion, try to focus on their actual work performance, achievements, and contributions, rather than how they make you feel or how they present themselves. By focusing on measurable outcomes, you can ensure that your judgment is based on relevant information rather than emotional biases. Additionally, it is helpful to seek feedback from others who may not be as influenced by the halo effect. Sometimes, getting a second opinion can provide a more balanced perspective and help you see things that you might have missed. For example, if you are hiring someone for a job, consider consulting with multiple colleagues who have different perspectives on the candidate's qualifications and fit for the role. This can help reduce the impact of the halo effect and lead to a more objective decision. The halo effect can also be mitigated by making a conscious effort to view people and products holistically. Instead of focusing on one positive trait, try to look at the overall picture. If you are considering a product, take the time to research reviews and compare it to alternatives. If you are evaluating a person, try to consider their strengths and weaknesses as a whole, without being swayed by one trait that stands out. By doing so, you can make more informed, balanced decisions that are less influenced by superficial impressions. In the end, the halo effect reminds us how easily we can be influenced by first impressions and positive traits. While it can lead to more favorable judgments in some situations, it can also cause us to overlook important details or make biased decisions. By becoming more aware of how this bias works, we can better guard against its influence and make decisions that are based on a more comprehensive and objective assessment. And then, there is another force that quietly shapes our judgment, often without us noticing. Guilt tripping, the emotional manipulation of responsibility. There are times when someone may try to make you feel guilty for not doing something for them, even when you have no real obligation. A friend or family member might suggest that you are letting them down by not meeting their expectations or make you feel responsible for their well-being in an unfair way. This is known as guilt tripping, a manipulation tactic where guilt is used to control or influence your actions, often making you feel accountable for someone else's emotions or circumstances. Guilt tripping can be a subtle but powerful tool used to make you feel obligated to do something, even when you might not want to, or it is not in your best interest. Imagine you have a friend who constantly asks for favors, and when you decline, they say something like, "I guess I am just not important enough for you to make time for me." This comment may seem innocuous at first, but it is designed to make you feel bad for saying no. The manipulator wants to make you feel guilty for not meeting their needs, creating emotional pressure to conform to their desires. The psychological mechanism behind guilt tripping is rooted in our need for connection and belonging. As humans, we naturally want to be liked and accepted by others, especially those we care about. When someone uses guilt to manipulate us, they exploit this need by making us feel like we are letting them down or betraying the relationship. The feeling of guilt can trigger a desire to repair the emotional bond, leading us to act in ways that align with the manipulator's wishes, even when it is not in our best interest. One of the key reasons guilt tripping is so effective is that it plays on our empathy and compassion. When someone expresses disappointment or sadness, it triggers our natural desire to help or alleviate their pain. However, in cases of guilt tripping, this empathy is used against us. Instead of genuinely helping someone, we are manipulated into acting out of a sense of obligation, not out of a desire to help. The manipulator may even use phrases like, "If you really cared about me, you would," to make us feel as though we are morally obligated to meet their demands. Guilt tripping can be particularly potent in close relationships, such as those with family, friends, or romantic partners. For example, a parent might say to their child, "After all I have done for you, the least you can do is this one small favor for me." The parent uses the weight of their past sacrifices to make the child feel indebted to them. This can create a cycle where the child constantly feels obligated to fulfill the parent's demands, regardless of their own needs or boundaries. In romantic relationships, guilt tripping can also be used to control the other person's behavior. A partner might say, "If you really loved me, you would spend more time with me," or "I do so much for you, and you cannot even do this one thing for me." These statements are designed to make the other person feel guilty for not prioritizing the relationship in the way the manipulator wants. Over time, this can lead to one person constantly sacrificing their own needs and desires to avoid feeling guilty or disappointing the other. In the workplace, guilt tripping can also play a significant role. A colleague might say, "I have been here all weekend working on this project, and I could really use your help, even though you have already completed your own tasks." This statement aims to make you feel guilty for not offering assistance, even when it is not your responsibility. Managers and supervisors can also use guilt tripping to get employees to work overtime or take on additional tasks. The implication is that if you do not comply, you are somehow letting the team or company down. Guilt tripping can be especially damaging because it often leads to feelings of resentment. While you might initially comply with the manipulator's wishes to avoid the guilt, over time, this can lead to a buildup of frustration. You might begin to feel like your needs are constantly being ignored, or that you are being unfairly controlled by the manipulator. This can erode the trust and emotional bond between you and the other person, leading to long-term negative effects on the relationship. The impact of guilt tripping is not just emotional, it can also affect your mental and physical well-being. Constantly giving in to others' demands out of guilt can lead to burnout, stress, and a lack of self-care. You may neglect your own needs and desires in favor of meeting the expectations of others, leaving you feeling depleted and resentful. So, how can you protect yourself from being guilt-tripped? The first step is recognizing when it is happening. If you notice that someone is making you feel guilty for not doing something, take a moment to reflect on the situation. Ask yourself whether you are genuinely responsible for the person's feelings, or if they are using guilt to manipulate you. It is important to distinguish between genuine requests for help and emotional manipulation. One helpful strategy is to set clear boundaries. If you feel that you are being guilt-tripped into doing something that is not in your best interest, it is important to assert your boundaries. You can politely but firmly say, "I understand that you are asking for help, but I am not able to do that right now." It is crucial to remember that you are not obligated to meet everyone's demands, and it is okay to say no without feeling guilty. Another strategy is to reframe the situation in your mind. Instead of viewing the guilt trip as an obligation, try to see it as an attempt to manipulate you. Recognize that the other person is trying to make you feel responsible for their emotions or needs, and that this is not your responsibility to fix. By reframing the situation, you can take the emotional pressure off yourself and make decisions based on what is best for you, rather than out of a sense of guilt. It can also be helpful to talk to the person about how their behavior is making you feel. If you feel comfortable, you can have an honest conversation about how guilt-tripping affects you. Sometimes people are unaware that they are using this tactic and may stop when they realize the impact it has on you. In some cases, guilt-tripping may be a sign of deeper emotional issues that the manipulator is struggling with. While it is important to be empathetic, it is also essential to recognize that it is not your job to carry the emotional burden for others. You can be supportive without sacrificing your own well-being. Ultimately, the key to protecting yourself from guilt-tripping is to maintain a strong sense of self-awareness and assertiveness. By recognizing when you are being manipulated and learning how to set boundaries, you can protect yourself from emotional manipulation and ensure that your decisions are based on your own values and needs, not the guilt imposed by others. And then, there is another emotional tactic that can subtly influence our relationships and choices. Triangulation, creating conflict to control. There are times when you may find yourself caught in the middle of a disagreement between two people, only to later realize that one individual was subtly manipulating the situation by playing both sides against each other. This is known as triangulation, a psychological tactic in which a person brings a third party into a conflict or situation to create division or gain control over the relationship. The manipulator uses you, or someone else, to escalate the conflict between two other individuals, pressuring them to choose sides or take action. Triangulation can be a particularly destructive tactic in relationships, whether they are personal or professional. Imagine a situation where a friend confides in you about an issue they are having with another friend. They share their side of the story, presenting their grievances, and express their frustration. Without realizing it, you may start to feel sympathetic toward your friend and develop negative feelings about the other person involved. However, the friend who confided in you may have left out important context or exaggerated the situation to make themselves appear more victimized. This tactic of involving a third party to escalate or distort the conflict is triangulation. The psychological mechanism behind triangulation works by tapping into our natural tendency to seek connection and belonging. When someone brings us into a conflict, they create an opportunity for us to form a bond with them, often making us feel needed or valued. This can make us feel emotionally invested in the outcome of the situation, which can distort our judgment. We might end up aligning with one person over the other without fully understanding the entire context or seeing the situation from all sides. Triangulation is often used by manipulators in dysfunctional relationships to maintain control over others. For instance, in a romantic relationship, one partner might intentionally create tension or conflict between the other partner and their friends or family. They might say things like, "I do not know why your family is treating me this way," or "Why does your best friend never like me?" This creates doubt and division, making the other person question their relationships and loyalties. Over time, this can lead to the person becoming isolated, with the manipulator as the only person they can rely on. In the workplace, triangulation can also be a common tactic. Imagine that you work with a colleague who has a problem with another co-worker, but instead of addressing the issue directly, they come to you and complain about the other person. They might even exaggerate or misinterpret the other person's actions to make them seem unreasonable or difficult. As a result, you become emotionally invested in the conflict, potentially causing you to treat the other person differently or side with the complainer. This not only adds tension to the workplace, but can also prevent resolution of the conflict. as the manipulator benefits from keeping the issue alive and unresolved. One of the reasons triangulation is so effective is that it preys on our need to be involved in relationships and conflicts. When we are made to feel like we are part of the process, especially in emotional situations, we feel validated and appreciated. This makes it harder for us to remain objective. As a result, we may start to align ourselves with one party in the conflict, without realizing that we are being used as pawns in the manipulator's game. Over time, this can lead to a breakdown of trust and an inability to see situations clearly as emotions cloud judgment. In family dynamics, triangulation can often be seen between parents and children, or between siblings. One parent might create division between their child and the other parent by playing the child off against them. For example, a parent might say, "I know your mother does not let you do this, but I think you should have the freedom to choose." By involving the child in the conflict, the parent may gain the child's trust and manipulate the situation to their advantage. The child may then feel torn between their parents, unsure of who to side with, and ultimately feel isolated and confused. Triangulation is also common in friendships, particularly in situations where one person feels threatened by the closeness between two other individuals. A person might attempt to create division by sowing seeds of doubt or jealousy, often by gossiping or spreading rumors. They might say something like, "I heard that Jane was talking about you behind your back," even if they have no concrete evidence to support it. This manipulative behavior forces the two friends to question their relationship, and the manipulator steps in as the supposed peacemaker or mediator, further gaining control over the situation. The effects of triangulation can be far-reaching. It often leads to confusion, emotional stress, and distrust. The person who is manipulated by triangulation may find themselves questioning their relationships, struggling to know whom to trust, and feeling isolated. The manipulator, however, maintains control by keeping the conflict alive, avoiding resolution, and reinforcing their own position as the central figure in the situation. So, how can we protect ourselves from the manipulative tactics of triangulation? The first step is to recognize when it is happening. If someone is constantly bringing you into conflicts that do not directly concern you, or if you are being asked to take sides in a situation, it may be an indication of triangulation. Pay attention to how the situation makes you feel. Are you being manipulated into thinking negatively about someone else? Are you being asked to make decisions or judgments without having all the facts? If you find yourself in the middle of a conflict due to triangulation, it is essential to remain objective and not get emotionally caught up in the drama. Try to stay neutral and avoid taking sides, especially if you do not have all the necessary information. If the conflict involves people you care about, encourage direct communication between the parties involved. Often, the best way to resolve a situation is through open and honest conversation, not through manipulation or third-party interference. Another important strategy is to set healthy boundaries. If you find that someone is repeatedly trying to involve you in their personal conflicts, it is important to establish limits. You have the right to refuse to engage in situations that feel manipulative or that make you uncomfortable. Setting boundaries can help protect your emotional well-being and prevent you from being used as a pawn in someone else's game. In some cases, it might be necessary to confront the person who is using triangulation. If you feel comfortable doing so, have an honest conversation with them about how their behavior is affecting you and others involved. This can sometimes be a difficult conversation, but it can be an important step in reclaiming control and putting a stop to manipulative behavior. Ultimately, the key to protecting yourself from triangulation is self-awareness and a willingness to maintain boundaries. By recognizing when this tactic is being used and taking steps to detach from the conflict, you can avoid being manipulated and maintain healthier, more direct relationships with others. And then, there is another subtle form of manipulation that can shape the way we view ourselves and others. The foot-in-the-door technique, starting small to get big results. Agreeing to a small favor or simple request can sometimes lead to realizing that it was just a stepping stone toward a much larger ask. This approach is known as the foot-in-the-door technique, a psychological strategy where someone begins with a minor request to increase the chances of agreement when presenting a more significant one later. By securing an initial yes, they lay the groundwork for a bigger commitment. Imagine this scenario. A charity organization asks you to sign a petition in support of a cause. It takes just a few seconds of your time, and you feel that it is a harmless, simple act. A week later, you are contacted by the same organization, but this time they ask you for a donation. You might feel more inclined to give, simply because you already agreed to the first, smaller request. This is the foot-in-the-door technique at work. Once you have committed to something small, you are more likely to commit to something larger. The psychological mechanism behind the foot-in-the-door technique lies in the concept of consistency. As human beings, we have a natural desire to appear consistent in our actions and decisions. Once we have committed to a small request, we are more likely to justify that decision and align future behaviors with it. This creates a sense of cognitive dissonance when we say no to the larger request, because it contradicts our earlier commitment. In other words, we tend to want our actions to be consistent, even if the original decision was made quickly or without much thought. This technique is particularly powerful because it exploits our desire for consistency. When someone gets us to agree to a small request, we feel a psychological obligation to follow through with their next request, even if it is more substantial. This is why salespeople often start with a small, low-risk offer before moving on to higher-priced items. For instance, a door-to-door salesperson might ask if you can spare a moment to listen to a quick pitch. If you say yes, they may later ask you to make a purchase or subscribe to a service. You have already agreed to the small request, and so you are more likely to comply with the larger one. The foot-in-the-door technique is not just limited to sales or marketing. It also plays a role in social influence and relationships. In personal relationships, a person might initially ask for something small, like borrowing a book or getting a ride to the store. Once you have agreed to the small request, they may ask for something bigger, such as borrowing a large sum of money or asking for a significant favor. By slowly escalating their requests, they take advantage of the psychological principle of consistency, making it harder for you to refuse. This technique is also prevalent in the workplace. A manager might start by assigning you a small task, one that seems minor and easy to complete. Once you agree, they might slowly begin to assign you more and more responsibility, making it difficult for you to say no to larger projects. You might initially agree because the tasks seemed manageable, but over time, you may feel overwhelmed and unable to back out without appearing inconsistent or unwilling. The foot-in-the-door technique is powerful because it plays on our social and emotional need to be seen as consistent. We want to present ourselves as reliable and cooperative, and so we are often reluctant to back out of commitments, even if those commitments grow larger or more burdensome over time. This need for consistency is so strong that it can lead us to agree to things we would never have agreed to in the first place if we had been asked outright. Real-life examples of the foot-in-the-door technique are all around us. In politics, for instance, a candidate may start by asking for small actions, like signing a petition or attending a local event. As their supporters become more involved, they might ask for larger commitments, such as donating money or volunteering time. The same principle is used in fundraising, where donors are initially asked for small contributions before being encouraged to give more substantial amounts. So, how can we protect ourselves from the manipulation of the foot-in-the-door technique? The first step is to be aware of when it is happening. If someone asks you for a small favor and then gradually escalates their requests, take a moment to consider whether the larger request is something you are truly willing to agree to. Ask yourself, would I have said yes to this request if it were made up front? If the answer is no, it may be a sign that you are being influenced by the foot-in-the-door technique. Another way to protect yourself is to set clear boundaries from the outset. If you are asked for a small favor, you can politely refuse or make it clear that you are not comfortable with the escalation of the request. For example, if a salesperson asks you to try a free sample, but you have no intention of purchasing anything, It is important to be firm in your refusal. It can be helpful to practice saying no in these situations, so you are prepared when the requests begin to escalate. It is also useful to be mindful of the psychological principle of consistency. If you find yourself agreeing to small requests out of a sense of obligation, take a step back and assess whether this is truly in line with your values and priorities. It is okay to say no, even if you have already agreed to a smaller request. Remember that you are not obligated to be consistent in a way that harms you or compromises your interests. Finally, seek support when necessary. If you feel pressured or manipulated by escalating requests, talk to a friend, colleague, or trusted advisor. Sometimes, it helps to get an outside perspective on the situation, especially if you are unsure whether you are being influenced by the foot-in-the-door technique. By discussing the situation with someone else, you can gain clarity and strengthen your resolve. The foot-in-the-door technique is a powerful manipulation tactic, but it is not invincible. By recognizing its influence and learning to set boundaries, we can protect ourselves from being taken advantage of. Whether it is in sales, relationships, or the workplace, the key to resisting this technique is self-awareness and a willingness to assert our needs and priorities. And then, there is another subtle manipulation that seeks to gain our compliance, often by using a different approach. The Ikea Effect. When we overvalue what we create, people often feel a stronger attachment to things they have built or assembled themselves, even when the final result is far from perfect. A homemade bookshelf or a self-assembled chair, for example, may have flaws, yet it can seem more valuable simply because of the effort invested in creating it. This phenomenon is known as the Ikea Effect, a cognitive bias where individuals place an unusually high value on their own creations, regardless of their actual quality. The term Ikea Effect comes from the popular Swedish furniture store, where customers are encouraged to assemble their own furniture. What makes this effect particularly interesting is that it is not just about the satisfaction of completing a task. It is about how much more we value things simply because we had a hand in their creation, no matter how small or imperfect that contribution may be. Imagine building a piece of furniture from a flat-pack kit. The instructions may be confusing, and you may struggle to get the pieces to fit together. But once you are done, there is a sense of accomplishment and pride that comes with it. Even though the bookshelf or coffee table may not be perfectly constructed or might have a few noticeable flaws, it feels like yours, and that sense of ownership makes it feel more valuable. This emotional attachment is part of the Ikea Effect. The psychological mechanism behind the Ikea Effect is based on our desire for accomplishment and control. When we invest time, effort, or even emotional energy into something, we tend to believe that the end product has greater value because of the personal effort we put into it. This bias is linked to what psychologists call effort justification. The more effort we put into something, the more we convince ourselves that it is worth it, even if the actual outcome does not live up to expectations. This effect can be seen in various real-life situations. For example, in the context of work, you may put significant effort into a project or presentation, only to later realize that the end result is not as impressive as you had hoped. However, because you invested so much of your time and energy, you may feel that it is a better product than it actually is. The Ikea Effect can cause us to overestimate the value of our own work because we are emotionally attached to the process of creating it. In relationships, the Ikea Effect can manifest in the way we view our role in the dynamics of a group or partnership. For instance, in a collaborative project, you might feel a greater sense of ownership and pride in the final product simply because you contributed to its creation. This can lead to inflated self-esteem or a sense of entitlement regarding the outcome, even if others contributed just as much or more. In these cases, the Ikea Effect can cause tension if one person believes their contribution is more valuable than others, even when that may not be the case. In consumer behavior, the Ikea Effect is often used strategically in marketing. Companies know that if customers feel involved in the creation or customization of a product, they are more likely to develop a stronger emotional attachment to it. For example, some car manufacturers allow customers to personalize aspects of their vehicles, such as the color or interior design. Even though these choices may not significantly affect the vehicle's performance or quality, they make the customer feel like they have created something unique, which increases the perceived value of the product. The IKEA effect also plays a role in hobbies and DIY activities. Whether it is gardening, knitting, or home improvement, the act of creating something with your own hands makes you more invested in the outcome. This attachment to what we create is why DIY projects are so popular. People get satisfaction not just from the result, but from the process of making it themselves. The IKEA effect can also be seen in the realm of startups and entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurs often feel a strong attachment to their businesses because they are the ones who built it from the ground up. This emotional investment can cloud their judgment when it comes to decision-making, making it difficult to accept external criticism or suggestions for improvement. Entrepreneurs may overvalue their own work, viewing their products, services, or ideas as better than they objectively are because of the personal effort they have put into them. While the IKEA effect can lead to positive feelings of accomplishment and pride, it can also lead to overconfidence and poor decision-making. The attachment we feel to something we have created can prevent us from seeing its flaws or shortcomings. It can also make it harder to make objective decisions, whether it is about our work, a product, or even a relationship. For example, in business, an entrepreneur may resist feedback or adjustments to their product because they have become emotionally attached to the idea they created, even when it might be clear that changes are necessary. So, how can we mitigate the potential downsides of the IKEA effect? The first step is to become aware of it. Recognize that the emotional attachment you feel to something you have created or worked on may not always reflect its actual value. It is important to take a step back and view the product or outcome objectively, separating your emotional investment from the final result. One way to do this is by seeking outside perspectives. If you have worked on a project or created something yourself, ask others for honest feedback. By getting input from people who have not been emotionally invested in the process, you can gain a clearer understanding of its true quality and value. It is also helpful to focus on continuous improvement rather than perfection. Instead of overvaluing the first version of something you create, see it as a starting point and be open to iterating and improving over time. Another helpful strategy is to embrace the mindset of growth and learning. The IKEA effect can lead to the overvaluation of our own work, but by focusing on personal development and the value of learning from both successes and failures, we can shift our attention from the product itself to the process of growth. This can help us maintain a healthy detachment from the emotional attachment to the end result. Lastly, remember that the IKEA effect works because of the effort we invest in something, not necessarily the quality of the outcome. By recognizing this, we can appreciate the value of the process without becoming overly attached to the finished product. This mindset can help us remain humble and open to constructive criticism, allowing us to continue improving and growing. The IKEA effect is a reminder of how powerful our emotional connections can be to the things we create. While these connections can lead to a sense of accomplishment and pride, they can also cloud our judgment and prevent us from seeing the bigger picture. By becoming more aware of the IKEA effect and learning to separate emotional attachment from objective evaluation, we can make better decisions and ensure that our creations are truly valuable, both to ourselves and to others. And then, there is another subtle influence that shapes the way we perceive ourselves and the world around us. Love bombing. It starts slowly, almost imperceptibly. At first, it feels like a warm embrace, a comforting presence that seems to make everything better. The messages come flooding in at all hours of the day, each one more affectionate than the last. Compliments, thoughtful gestures, little surprises that make you feel seen, heard, and valued. You might feel as though you've found someone who truly understands you, someone who is there for you in ways you've never experienced before. You're not just a priority to them, you are everything. It is intoxicating, this feeling of being special, of being wanted in ways that transcend mere attraction. And then, As quickly as it came, the tone shifts. In the beginning, everything seemed so perfect, almost too perfect, as though you had stepped into a fantasy. But slowly, you start to notice small things, little comments, a slight push, a request that feels like it carries more weight than it should. The affection starts to feel like it comes with an unspoken expectation. The intimacy, once liberating, now feels like a tether, slowly pulling you in tighter. It's no longer just about the sweetness of the attention. It's about fulfilling the emotional need of the person who has made you the center of their world. And somewhere in the back of your mind, you realize that this overwhelming affection, once so alluring, may not be as innocent as it seemed. This is love bombing, a tactic that may feel like love at first, but one that is built on a foundation of control and manipulation. It begins with the bombardment of affection and attention designed to win you over quickly. But as you become more emotionally invested, the true purpose reveals itself, to make you dependent on the manipulator for validation and love, gradually drawing you into a cycle that revolves around their needs, not yours. Love bombing doesn't necessarily follow a script. It can come in many forms, each subtle in its manipulation. Perhaps it starts with the endless praises, the constant affirmation of your worth. Or maybe it's the constant checking in, the gestures of kindness that go above and beyond. Over time, as you become emotionally entangled, the manipulator starts to shift the dynamic. What was once a genuine exchange of affection becomes an arena where their needs take center stage, and your feelings and boundaries become secondary. The core of love bombing is the manipulation of dependency. The overwhelming affection is not about love for love's sake, but about creating an emotional reliance. The manipulator showers you with affection to build up your emotional attachment. You begin to equate their attention with your own self-worth, and with this connection comes a hidden, often unspoken expectation. In order to keep this affection, you must continue to cater to their emotional needs. Over time, this dynamic becomes more controlling. You feel compelled to please them, to remain in their good graces, because their love has come to define your own sense of value. In romantic relationships, love bombing is often the first stage of a larger pattern of emotional manipulation. At the start, it may seem like you found the ideal partner, someone who listens attentively, who brings you joy and excitement, someone who makes you feel like the only person in the world. But as the relationship progresses, you begin to notice that their affection is not unconditional. You are made to feel indebted to them, as though their love comes at a price, and the price is your emotional independence, your ability to assert your needs, and your ability to maintain any sense of self outside the relationship. In work environments, love bombing may take the form of excessive praise or mentorship. A colleague or boss may shower you with attention, sing your praises to others, or offer to help you achieve your professional goals. In the beginning, it feels motivating and affirming. But as the connection deepens, you start to feel a sense of obligation. Their kindness begins to feel less like mentorship and more like control. You might feel compelled to perform at a level that exceeds your capacity because you are emotionally invested in keeping their approval, even if it means sacrificing your own well-being. The psychological mechanism behind love bombing is rooted in manipulation through emotional dependency. When someone showers you with affection, you naturally begin to associate their validation with your sense of self-worth. This creates a powerful emotional bond, one that the manipulator can exploit. As you become more emotionally attached, the manipulator can shift the dynamic to suit their needs, causing you to feel increasingly obligated to maintain their approval. This is why love bombing feels so intoxicating. It provides a high level of emotional validation, but with that comes an unspoken control. The consequences of love bombing can be far-reaching. In romantic relationships, it can lead to an unhealthy emotional attachment, where the victim feels like their worth is tied solely to the manipulator's affection. The constant need for validation from the manipulator can make it difficult to break free from the cycle, leaving the victim feeling trapped. Over time, this can lead to emotional exhaustion, as the victim sacrifices their own needs and boundaries to maintain the relationship. In work environments, it can lead to burnout and a loss of autonomy, as individuals feel emotionally beholden to their boss or colleague, unable to make decisions that conflict with their emotional dependence on the manipulator. So, how do we protect ourselves from being manipulated by love bombing? The first step is awareness. Recognizing the signs of love bombing is essential in protecting ourselves from falling into the trap. If someone is bombarding you with affection at a pace that feels too fast, or if their kindness feels like it comes with hidden expectations, it's important to step back and assess the situation. Ask yourself, is this affection based on mutual respect, or is it being used as a tool for control? A helpful strategy is to set clear boundaries. Healthy relationships, whether romantic or professional, are built on respect for each other's emotional independence. If someone's affection begins to feel overwhelming or manipulative, it's crucial to set boundaries around your emotional space. Let them know what is comfortable for you, and be clear about the limits of what you're willing to tolerate. Setting boundaries early on can prevent the manipulator from gaining control. Another technique is to take your time getting to know someone. Love bombing often occurs early in a relationship, where emotions are raw and vulnerabilities are exposed. By taking the time to understand the person's true intentions, you can avoid rushing into an emotional commitment. Healthy relationships are built over time, through shared experiences and mutual understanding. If someone is rushing to form a connection, it's worth pausing and evaluating whether this pace is healthy for you. In work environments, it's important to maintain professional boundaries. If a colleague or boss is overly generous with praise or mentorship, consider whether their behavior is genuinely supportive or if it's part of a larger attempt to gain control over you. Stay focused on your work performance and ensure that you are not sacrificing your well-being to keep someone's approval. In personal growth, one of the best ways to protect yourself from love bombing is to cultivate emotional independence. When you're emotionally self-sufficient and secure in your own self-worth, you're less likely to fall prey to manipulation. Practice self-love, self-care, and reflection to ensure that your emotional needs are met internally, not by relying on others for validation. Love bombing can be intoxicating, but it is ultimately a tactic for control. By recognizing the signs, setting boundaries, and cultivating emotional independence, we can protect ourselves from manipulation and create relationships built on mutual respect, trust, and genuine affection. Healthy relationships should empower both individuals, not leave one feeling emotionally dependent or controlled by the other. And then, there is another subtle influence that plays on our emotions and decisions, guiding our behavior in ways we may not always be aware of. Mind control. Imagine walking through life with a persistent sense of knowing, a kind of trust in your own thoughts and decisions. Now, what if someone could enter your mind, subtly shape your beliefs, and influence your actions without you ever realizing? This is what is often referred to as mind control, a manipulation tactic that goes beyond the surface level of persuasion, seeking to shape the very thoughts and behaviors of an individual in a way that serves the manipulator's agenda. Mind control does not happen in one dramatic moment. Rather, it is a slow, insidious process, where the individual being manipulated begins to doubt their own thoughts and perceptions, gradually losing their autonomy. It is not always about force. Rather, it is the slow erosion of an individual's sense of self, replaced with an external influence that slowly begins to take over their mind and actions. This can manifest in many forms, whether in religious cults, toxic relationships, or even in high-pressure work environments. At its core, mind control seeks to break down the barriers that protect a person's identity and individual thought. It relies on psychological techniques that exploit our inherent vulnerabilities. Whether it is creating a dependency on the manipulator for validation fostering feelings of fear and uncertainty, or establishing a new belief system. Mind control works by exploiting the psychological needs of its target. In cultic environments, for instance, mind control is often employed through the use of isolation and indoctrination. New recruits are cut off from their support networks, creating a sense of dependence on the group for emotional and psychological validation. The manipulator, usually the leader, will present themselves as the ultimate authority, and the target is taught to rely on them for guidance in all aspects of their life. Through constant repetition of new beliefs, isolation from outside viewpoints, and the manipulation of emotions, the individual becomes fully immersed in the group's ideology, often to the point of abandoning their previous beliefs and life choices. In relationships, mind control can look like a more subtle form of manipulation. A partner may use emotional blackmail, guilt tripping, or the subtle manipulation of information to control the other person's thoughts and actions. Over time, this type of influence can make the victim believe they are incapable of making their own decisions, or that their thoughts are wrong. The manipulator may begin to insert their own beliefs and preferences into every aspect of the victim's life, from career choices to social interactions, making them feel as though they are no longer capable of thinking for themselves. In work environments, mind control can be used by a leader or group to create an atmosphere where groupthink dominates, and employees are encouraged to abandon their own judgment in favor of the collective mindset. This can often be disguised as team spirit or loyalty to the company, where the individual is made to feel that their own personal desires and values must be subordinated to the needs of the organization. Over time, employees become more dependent on the company's approval and may start to view their work life as their entire identity, allowing the manipulator to control their thoughts, actions, and even their sense of self-worth. The psychological mechanisms behind mind control are rooted in cognitive dissonance and dependency. By creating situations where the individual experiences conflict between their existing beliefs and new ideas, the manipulator induces a sense of discomfort. In order to resolve this discomfort, the individual is encouraged to adopt the new belief system or behaviors, which in turn allows them to restore psychological harmony. Additionally, the manipulator creates an emotional dependence on themselves, making the individual feel that their sense of self is intertwined with the manipulator's approval and validation. The consequences of mind control are profound and long-lasting. Victims of mind control often suffer from emotional instability, identity confusion, and a loss of self-esteem. They may struggle to make decisions independently, constantly seeking the approval of the manipulator. Over time, this can lead to psychological burnout, as the victim feels increasingly drained by their emotional dependence on the manipulator. In the most extreme cases, individuals may lose the ability to recognize the manipulative nature of their situation, unable to break free from the hold that has been placed on them. So, how can we protect ourselves from the effects of mind control, especially in situations where it seems subtle or invisible? The first step is awareness. Recognizing when we are being manipulated is the key to breaking free from mind control tactics. If you find yourself consistently second-guessing your thoughts, decisions, or feelings, especially in relation to one individual or group, it may be a sign that you are being influenced by outside forces. It is important to ask yourself, am I making this decision because it aligns with my true values, or because someone else has made me feel that this is the only option? A helpful strategy is to cultivate critical thinking. Mind control thrives when the individual stops questioning what they are being told and starts to accept information at face value. By strengthening your ability to evaluate situations and ideas critically, you can create a mental barrier against manipulation. Take time to reflect on your beliefs, your choices, and the reasons behind them. Are you making decisions based on your own judgment, or have external forces shaped them? The more you strengthen your critical thinking skills, the more resilient you will become to manipulative tactics. Another technique is to build emotional resilience. Mind control often exploits emotional vulnerabilities, such as a fear of rejection, feelings of inadequacy, or a lack of self-confidence. Strengthening your emotional resilience through practices such as mindfulness, self-compassion, and developing strong support networks can help you maintain a sense of self in the face of manipulation. Surround yourself with people who encourage your independence, challenge your ideas in healthy ways, and support your personal growth. Having a strong emotional foundation makes it more difficult for others to undermine your beliefs or manipulate your actions. In work environments, it is important to maintain professional boundaries. Even in organizations where loyalty and team spirit are emphasized, it is crucial to retain a sense of individuality and independent thought. Avoid the trap of groupthink by questioning collective decisions when necessary and staying true to your own values. By maintaining a clear sense of your professional identity, you can prevent the manipulative forces of mind control from dominating your life. In personal relationships, the best defense against mind control is to maintain open communication and trust your instincts. If you ever feel that a relationship is beginning to undermine your sense of self or making you doubt your beliefs and actions, it is essential to address these feelings openly. Talk to trusted friends, family, or a therapist who can help you process what is happening and identify if manipulation is at play. The sooner you address the issue, the easier it will be to regain your sense of autonomy and control. Mind control is a powerful psychological force that can be used to manipulate our thoughts, behaviors, and emotions. By recognizing the signs of manipulation, cultivating critical thinking, building emotional resilience, and maintaining healthy boundaries, we can protect ourselves from the harmful effects of mind control. True autonomy comes from the ability to think and act independently, free from the influence of those who seek to control our minds. By staying true to our values and embracing our own mental and emotional strength, we can break free from the cycle of manipulation and reclaim our sense of self. And then, there is another subtle force that works in the background, influencing our thoughts and behaviors in ways we often do not recognize. Public shaming. Imagine being in a crowded room, surrounded by people, when someone suddenly points a finger at you. Everyone is looking, eyes filled with judgment, and you can feel your heart pounding in your chest. Your face flushes, a mix of embarrassment and anger rising within you. The humiliation is intense, and all you want is for the floor to open up and swallow you. But this is not a fleeting moment. It is an orchestrated act of control, designed to undermine you and force you into submission. This is public shaming, a tactic used to silence or manipulate behavior by humiliating someone in front of others. Public shaming is one of the oldest forms of social control. In ancient times, people were physically branded or put in stocks as a form of punishment for their wrongdoings, meant to publicly mark them as outcasts. While the methods have changed, the intent behind public shaming remains much the same: to make the individual feel small, insignificant, and to pressure them into changing their behavior or conforming to societal norms. Today, public shaming can be as simple as a harsh word in front of colleagues or as extreme as social media campaigns designed to ruin someone's reputation. The core of public shaming lies in the fear of social rejection. Human beings are inherently social creatures, and our need for acceptance and approval from others is deeply ingrained. When we are shamed publicly, it taps into this primal fear of being ostracized or abandoned. The fear of losing social standing can be so overwhelming that we may begin to change our behavior or even our beliefs to avoid further shame. The manipulator, whether consciously or unconsciously, knows that shame is a powerful tool to enforce compliance, making it an effective strategy for controlling or silencing others. In workplace settings, public shaming can take the form of a manager reprimanding an employee in front of others, often for something that could have been addressed privately. The goal is not to correct behavior, but to assert dominance and maintain control over the employee. The humiliation of being called out in front of peers can erode the employee's confidence, leaving them feeling belittled and powerless. Over time, they may begin to conform to the expectations of the manager, out of fear of being shamed again. In personal relationships, public shaming may occur when one partner criticizes the other in front of others, using humiliation as a way to assert power. It could be something as simple as mocking their appearance, belittling their ideas, or exposing their vulnerabilities in front of friends or family. The effect is similar. The victim feels humiliated and invalidated, which can lead to feelings of inadequacy, resentment, and emotional dependence. The manipulator, in turn, gains control, knowing that the victim will likely begin to modify their behavior to avoid further shame. In political and social contexts, public shaming has become a tool for silencing dissent or enforcing societal norms. Social media has amplified the power of public shaming, where individuals can be cancelled or socially ostracized for expressing unpopular opinions, making mistakes, or simply being different. While some argue that public shaming is a way to hold individuals accountable for their actions, it often leads to public humiliation that can ruin lives and stifle free expression. People who have been publicly shamed may retract their statements, apologize excessively, or change their opinions to fit in with the social group, even if they no longer believe in the change. In this way, public shaming isn't just about addressing behavior. It is about molding the individual's thoughts and actions to fit within an acceptable narrative. The psychological mechanism behind public shaming is tied to the social and emotional impact of feeling rejected by a group. When a person is publicly humiliated, their sense of self-worth takes a hit. They may start to question their own value or begin to internalize the shame, believing that they deserve the negative treatment. The fear of social rejection becomes so intense that they may start to make decisions based not on their authentic self, but on what they believe will prevent further shame. Public shaming also creates a power dynamic, where the shamer gains control over the victim by exploiting their vulnerability. The consequences of public shaming can be devastating. In workplaces, the victim may lose confidence in their professional abilities, making it harder for them to perform well in their role. Over time, this can lead to emotional distress, burnout, or even resignation, as the victim feels that they can never meet the expectations set by the shamer. In personal relationships, public shaming can erode trust, creating a toxic environment where the victim feels constantly invalidated and controlled. This can lead to feelings of isolation, depression, and anxiety, as the victim becomes afraid to express themselves authentically for fear of further humiliation. So, how can we protect ourselves from the harmful effects of public shaming? And how can we prevent ourselves from using it to control or manipulate others? The first step is awareness. Recognizing when public shaming is being used as a tactic for control or manipulation is essential in protecting ourselves. If you notice that someone is making you feel small or insignificant in front of others, take a moment to reflect on whether their actions are motivated by a desire to control or intimidate you. A helpful strategy is to assert boundaries. When faced with public shaming, it is crucial to stand up for yourself and assert your right to be treated with respect. If someone tries to humiliate you in front of others, calmly express that you do not appreciate their behavior and would prefer to have the conversation in private. If the shaming continues, it may be necessary to distance yourself from the person or situation entirely, especially if it is a toxic or abusive relationship. Another technique is to build emotional resilience. When you are emotionally strong, you are less likely to be affected by the opinions or criticisms of others. Cultivating self-esteem and self-compassion helps you maintain a strong sense of self-worth, even in the face of humiliation. Practice mindfulness, self-reflection, and positive affirmations to build emotional resilience. The more confident you are in your own value, the less likely you are to internalize the shame imposed by others. In work environments, encourage a culture of respect and constructive feedback. A healthy work environment should foster open communication and mutual support rather than shame and humiliation. If you are in a leadership role, set an example by offering feedback privately and with compassion. If you are a subordinate, seek guidance from mentors or HR when faced with public humiliation. Remember, you are entitled to work in an environment where you are treated with dignity and respect. In personal relationships, open communication is key to maintaining healthy boundaries. If someone uses public shaming to control or manipulate you, address the issue directly and explain how their actions make you feel. Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect, understanding, and emotional safety. If the shaming behavior continues, it may be time to reconsider the relationship or seek professional help. Public shaming is a powerful tool of control, designed to manipulate behavior through the humiliation of others. By recognizing the signs of public shaming, asserting our boundaries, building emotional resilience, and fostering respectful communication, we can protect ourselves from its harmful effects. True strength lies in maintaining our dignity and self-worth, no matter how others may try to diminish it. And then, there is another form of influence that subtly molds our thoughts, behaviors, and perceptions, leading us to decisions and actions that align with external pressures. Anchoring effect. Picture yourself in a shop, standing in front of a rack of jackets. The first one you pick up is priced at $300. Now, as you browse, you come across another jacket priced at $150. Compared to the first one, this second jacket seems like a bargain, right? But is it really? Perhaps $150 is still too much for what you are looking for. But because the first price you saw was $300, the second one feels more reasonable. This is the anchoring effect, a psychological phenomenon where the first piece of information offered in a situation serves as a reference point or anchor, against which all subsequent information is compared. In this case, the $300 jacket sets the anchor. As you evaluate the second jacket, you compare its price to the initial anchor, not considering its absolute value. The anchoring effect works by creating a reference point that distorts our perceptions of value. The first piece of information, whether it is a price, a statistic, or even a personal evaluation, shapes our subsequent decisions, often without us even realizing it. The anchoring effect is pervasive in many aspects of life. In sales and marketing, businesses often use it to their advantage. A common technique is to show a regular price alongside a discounted price. The regular price acts as an anchor, making the discounted price seem like a much better deal, even if the actual discount is minimal. For instance, a company might market a jacket originally priced at $500, now reduced to $300. Even though $300 might still be too high for some shoppers, it seems like a deal in comparison to the original price. The psychological mechanism behind the anchoring effect is rooted in cognitive bias. When we are presented with a number or piece of information first, our brains use it as a reference point for all subsequent judgments. This initial information holds undue weight in our decision-making process, and we often fail to adjust our thinking enough to account for its potential to skew our perceptions. Instead of evaluating the new piece of information on its own merits, we unconsciously compare it to the anchor, which often leads us to overestimate or underestimate its value. In negotiations, the anchoring effect is used to shape the terms of the agreement. If a seller starts by offering a price significantly higher than what they expect, it can set a reference point for the negotiation. When the buyer counters with a lower offer, the seller may adjust, but the initial high price still influences the final outcome, making it appear more reasonable than it would have if a lower starting point had been offered. The consequences of the anchoring effect can be profound. In consumer behavior, it can lead to poor purchasing decisions. Shoppers may end up buying a product they do not need or cannot afford simply because the initial price they were shown made the final price seem like a good deal. In negotiations, it can result in agreements that benefit one party more than the other because the anchor was set too high or too low, influencing the entire negotiation process. Similarly, in personal decision-making, the anchoring effect can lead to decisions that are not based on objective assessments, but on distorted reference points. So, how can we protect ourselves from being influenced by the anchoring effect and make more rational, informed decisions? The first step is awareness. Recognizing that the first piece of information you receive can unduly influence your decisions is key to breaking free from the anchoring effect. When you find yourself making a judgment based on an initial anchor, take a moment to reflect. Ask yourself, am I really making this decision based on the true value of the option, or is it influenced by the first piece of information I saw? A helpful strategy is to reframe the decision. Instead of relying on the first piece of information as your anchor, try to approach the decision from a fresh perspective. For example, if you are evaluating a price, ask yourself, what would I be willing to pay for this product based on its value to me? Or, what is the fair price for this item regardless of the original price? This can help you shift your focus away from the anchor and toward an independent, objective evaluation. Another technique is to seek additional information. When making decisions, especially significant ones like purchasing or negotiating, gather as much relevant information as possible. By broadening your perspective, you are less likely to be swayed by a single piece of data that might not represent the whole picture. In negotiations, for instance, consider the full spectrum of terms and options before accepting the first offer that comes your way. In consumer purchases, take your time to evaluate whether a deal is truly beneficial or if it is simply the result of an anchoring effect. If the price of an item seems disproportionately low or high compared to what you expected, take a step back and check the item's value independently of the initial offer. Look at comparable products or consider whether the item really meets your needs. This allows you to make a more informed decision that is based on objective value, rather than the influence of an anchor.
In professional settings, you can mitigate the effects of anchoring by approaching negotiations with clear goals and priorities in mind. Know your bottom line before entering discussions and avoid getting caught up in the initial offer. Ask for time to consider the terms and evaluate the full context of the negotiation before agreeing to any deal.
The anchoring effect is a powerful psychological influence that can distort our judgment and decision-making. By recognizing when it is at play, reframing the decision, seeking additional information, and maintaining clear goals, we can avoid making choices that are based on skewed reference points. True objectivity comes from being able to assess options independently of the first piece of information we encounter, ensuring that our decisions reflect their true value and not just the influence of an initial anchor. And then, there is another psychological force that plays a subtle role in shaping our decisions, guiding us toward choices that often align with others' expectations and beliefs. Scapegoating. Imagine a situation where things go wrong. A project fails, a mistake is made, or a system crashes. The pressure mounts, the blame game begins, and before long, one person is singled out. Perhaps it is an employee, a colleague, or even an entire group. They are held responsible for the failure, even though the issue may have been caused by a series of factors. This is scapegoating, a tactic where someone or something is unfairly blamed for problems or failures to shift attention away from the real causes or those truly responsible. Scapegoating can occur in many contexts, from workplaces to families, politics, and social movements. The essence of scapegoating lies in deflecting responsibility and providing a simple target for anger or frustration. By assigning blame to a single individual or group, the problem is framed as something external rather than something that involves a broader set of circumstances or multiple people. This makes it easier for those in power to avoid accountability and, at times, to consolidate their own position by discrediting others. In work environments, scapegoating can happen when a company faces financial struggles or operational failures. Instead of addressing the underlying issues, such as poor management, unrealistic expectations, or external factors, the blame is placed squarely on one person. This might be a lower-level employee or someone who has made an easily visible mistake. By focusing on this person's error, the organization can avoid addressing systemic problems, and the decision-makers can continue to operate without scrutiny. The scapegoat, meanwhile, bears the brunt of the anger and blame, often without any power to correct the situation. In political scenarios, scapegoating is a common strategy used by leaders to divert public attention from their own failings. When a government is facing unrest, economic difficulties, or unpopular policies, it may use a specific group or individual as a target for blame. Immigrants, a specific minority group, or political opponents can be portrayed as the cause of societal problems. This deflection tactic serves to unite others against a common enemy, while the real issues, such as corruption, policy failures, or poor decision-making, remain unaddressed. The public, instead of questioning the system, becomes focused on the scapegoat, further reinforcing the divide and deflecting attention from the true causes of discontent. In personal relationships, Scapegoating often occurs in families or partnerships. When something goes wrong, one person may be unfairly blamed, whether it is a child for a broken item, a partner for a miscommunication, or a family member for a social conflict. The scapegoat in these cases becomes the emotional target, taking on the burden of guilt, shame, or responsibility that is not theirs to bear. The root causes of the problem, communication breakdowns, unmet needs, or misunderstandings, are overlooked as the focus is placed on a single individual. The psychological mechanism behind scapegoating is deeply rooted in the human need to simplify complex problems. When faced with a difficult situation, it is far easier to blame an individual or group than to confront the real, often uncomfortable causes. Scapegoating reduces complexity and gives people a sense of closure by allowing them to externalize their frustration. It also serves to unite others who share the same frustration by creating a common target for anger and resentment. While this may create temporary relief, it never resolves the real issues at play and often deepens divisions and conflict. The consequences of scapegoating can be severe. In workplaces, it can lead to disengagement, resentment, and low morale, especially if employees feel that blame is being unfairly placed on them. This can create a toxic environment where people are afraid to take responsibility for their actions or speak up about problems, fearing that they will be the next target. Injustice and inequality often emerge, as the scapegoat may be treated unfairly while the real issues remain hidden. Over time, this can lead to higher turnover, reduced productivity, and diminished trust in leadership. In personal relationships, scapegoating can cause emotional alienation and resentment. The person being blamed often internalizes the negativity, leading to feelings of inadequacy or guilt. They may begin to believe they are the source of all problems, even when the issues are not their fault. This undermines their confidence and self-esteem, and the manipulative nature of scapegoating can lead to lasting emotional damage. It can also disrupt the relationship dynamics, creating a toxic environment where blame, rather than understanding and resolution, is the default response to conflict. So, how can we protect ourselves from being scapegoated, and how can we prevent ourselves from participating in scapegoating others? The first step is awareness. Recognizing when scapegoating is occurring is essential to breaking free from its effects. If you find that someone is consistently being blamed for problems or failures that are not entirely their responsibility, it is important to stop and ask, are we addressing the root causes of this issue, or are we focusing on an easy target? Awareness helps us see when the blame is disproportionate and can help us shift the conversation toward real solutions. A helpful strategy is to encourage accountability at every level. In a work environment, this means addressing problems collectively and encouraging open discussions about what went wrong. In a family or personal relationship, it means being willing to look at the bigger picture and understand that everyone plays a part in conflicts or misunderstandings. By fostering an environment of shared responsibility, we can avoid scapegoating and work toward real solutions that involve everyone. Another technique is to build emotional intelligence and empathy. Understanding that people make mistakes and that these mistakes are part of the larger human experience can help prevent the need for scapegoating. When we approach situations with empathy and a desire for understanding, rather than focusing on blame, we are better equipped to resolve conflicts in a healthy way. Encouraging open communication, self-awareness, and mutual respect helps to dismantle the harmful cycle of scapegoating, allowing all parties to feel heard and understood. In workplaces, implementing fair and transparent procedures for addressing mistakes and failures can significantly reduce the likelihood of scapegoating. When people know that issues will be addressed based on the facts, rather than personal biases or the need for blame, they are more likely to remain engaged and motivated to find solutions. Regular feedback, constructive criticism, and collaborative problem-solving help create an environment of trust and cooperation where blame is not used as a tool for manipulation. In personal relationships, open communication is key to avoiding scapegoating. If you feel that someone is unfairly blaming you for problems, it is important to address this directly and express how it makes you feel. Being honest about your emotions and working together to identify the real issues will foster healthier and more supportive relationships. Likewise, if you notice yourself blaming others unfairly, take a moment to reflect on the bigger picture and avoid focusing on one person as the cause of all problems. Scapegoating is a powerful and harmful tactic that can create division, perpetuate false narratives, and prevent real progress from being made. By recognizing when scapegoating is happening, promoting accountability, and fostering empathy and open communication, we can break the cycle of blame and work towards solutions that address the underlying causes of conflict. True growth comes from confronting problems head-on, rather than hiding behind easy targets and misplaced blame. And then, there is another form of influence that subtly molds our thoughts, behaviors, and perceptions, leading us to decisions and actions based on distorted beliefs and unjust assumptions. Creating a sense of obligation.
Have you ever found yourself agreeing to do something for someone, even though you did not really want to, simply because they did something for you first? Perhaps they gave you a small gift or did you a favor, and suddenly, you felt a strong sense of needing to return the favor. This feeling of indebtedness is a powerful psychological tool known as creating a sense of obligation.
It is a subtle manipulation tactic that induces someone to act based on a perceived debt or duty, often making them feel that they must reciprocate or fulfill a request, even if it goes against their best interests. The principle behind creating a sense of obligation is rooted in reciprocity, a deeply ingrained social norm that dictates that when someone does something for us, we feel an inherent desire to return the favor. This principle is often used to create an unspoken contract between two parties, one where the recipient feels obligated to reciprocate the kindness or gesture. While reciprocity is a natural part of human relationships, when it is manipulated, it can lead to situations where people are compelled to act out of guilt or obligation, rather than genuine desire or choice. In personal relationships, creating a sense of obligation can take many forms. A partner may do something nice for you, like cooking a special meal or buying you a thoughtful gift, and in return, they may subtly expect something from you, perhaps a favor or a gesture in return. Over time, this can lead to an imbalance, where one person constantly feels they owe the other, making it harder to assert boundaries or say no when requests are made. The giver, knowing that the recipient feels indebted, may use this to their advantage, manipulating their partner into actions they would not otherwise take. In workplace environments, the sense of obligation can be created by superiors or colleagues who go out of their way to help you or offer assistance. While their help may seem genuine at first, it can later be used as a tool to manipulate you into doing something for them. For example, a manager who takes extra time to support your career growth might later expect you to take on extra tasks or go beyond your role, all while you feel obligated to reciprocate their kindness. The problem arises when this sense of obligation becomes a tool for exploiting someone's time, energy, and resources, often without them fully realizing it. In sales and marketing, businesses frequently create a sense of obligation by offering something for free or at a significant discount. They may give you a free sample, a trial period, or even a gift with a purchase. Once you receive the freebie, you may feel obligated to make a purchase in return, even if you do not necessarily need the product. This is the company's way of inducing reciprocity, playing on the psychological principle that when something is given, it should be repaid in some way. The psychological mechanism behind creating a sense of obligation is grounded in guilt and social pressure. When someone does something for us, we feel a social and moral responsibility to return the favor. This creates a sense of indebtedness that can lead to compromise or overextension. The manipulator knows that by giving something first, they create an emotional hook, making it difficult for the recipient to decline future requests, even if those requests are unreasonable or beyond their capacity. The consequences of creating a sense of obligation can be far-reaching. In relationships, it can lead to feelings of resentment and frustration. The person who constantly feels they are giving in to the other's requests out of a sense of obligation may begin to feel emotionally drained or exploited. They may struggle to assert their own needs or desires, always putting the other person's wants before their own. Over time, this imbalance can lead to emotional burnout, disconnection, and a lack of authenticity in the relationship. In work environments, employees may find themselves overwhelmed by requests for favors or extra tasks that they feel obligated to fulfill. This can lead to burnout, decreased job satisfaction, and a diminished sense of control over one's own time and responsibilities. When employees feel that they must constantly repay favors or help others at the expense of their own needs, it can erode their self-esteem and motivation. In the long term, this creates a toxic environment where personal boundaries are blurred and manipulation is normalized. So, how can we protect ourselves from being manipulated by a false sense of obligation? And how can we avoid using this tactic to control others? The first step is awareness. Recognizing when you are being manipulated into feeling obligated is key to protecting yourself. If you feel that someone is giving something to you with the expectation that you will owe them something in return, take a step back and evaluate the situation. Ask yourself, am I feeling obligated because this is truly a mutual exchange, or because someone is trying to make me feel indebted? A helpful strategy is to set boundaries. It is important to maintain a sense of autonomy in relationships and not allow others to manipulate you into feeling responsible for their needs or actions. If someone offers a favor, it is perfectly acceptable to acknowledge their gesture without feeling that you must reciprocate immediately. If you are uncomfortable with a request or feel pressured to give something in return, it is important to assert your boundaries and politely decline if necessary. Another technique is to develop emotional independence. When you are emotionally secure and confident in your own decisions, you are less likely to be influenced by external pressure to fulfill obligations. Strengthening your self-worth and recognizing that your actions should be based on your own values, not someone else's expectations, will help you resist manipulation. Take time for self-reflection and make decisions based on what aligns with your goals and needs, not because you feel indebted to others. In work environments, encourage a culture of fairness and transparency. Instead of relying on the creation of obligations to get things done, foster an atmosphere where tasks and responsibilities are shared equally, and everyone is encouraged to contribute based on their strengths and interests. Clear communication and mutual respect help to prevent the development of toxic dependencies in the workplace, where employees feel obligated to perform tasks because they fear disappointing others or being seen as ungrateful. In personal relationships, practice healthy reciprocity, where both parties contribute to the relationship equally and support each other in ways that feel balanced and authentic. If someone consistently makes you feel obligated to reciprocate for their kindness, it is important to communicate how this makes you feel. Let them know that while you appreciate their gestures, you want the relationship to be based on mutual respect and not on an unspoken debt. Creating a sense of obligation can be a powerful manipulation tactic that plays on our natural desire for reciprocity. By recognizing when this tactic is being used, setting boundaries, and fostering emotional independence, we can protect ourselves from being manipulated by false obligations. Healthy relationships, whether personal or professional, should be built on genuine connection and mutual respect, not on manipulation or unbalanced exchanges. And then, there is another psychological tool that subtly guides us to act in ways that serve others' interests, even when we might not be fully aware of it. Lowballing. Imagine walking into a car dealership, excited to purchase a new car. After discussing your needs with a salesperson, they offer you a great deal on a model you like. Let ES say it is a brand new car for $20,000, well within your budget. You are thrilled, and after a bit more back and forth, you sign the papers, committing to buy the car. But then, once you are committed, the salesperson comes back with some new information. Suddenly, that $20,000 car now costs $22,500, citing unexpected fees or additional costs. You feel trapped because you have already invested so much time, energy, and mental commitment into the deal. This is the essence of lowballing, a manipulation tactic that involves offering a favorable deal at the outset, then altering the terms after the person has already committed, making it difficult for them to back out. At first glance, low-balling might seem like a simple sales tactic, but it goes much deeper. It plays on the psychological concept of commitment and loss aversion, two key elements that influence how we make decisions. When we commit to something, especially if we have already invested time, effort, or money into the process, we become emotionally invested, making it harder to back out. The more invested we become, the more reluctant we are to change our decision, even when the terms change unfavorably. In sales and marketing, low-balling is a common tactic used to close deals. For example, a company might offer a limited-time promotion or a discounted price on a product or service to lure a potential customer in. Once the customer has expressed interest and committed to the deal, the terms are altered, often with the introduction of hidden fees, higher costs, or additional conditions. At this point, the customer feels compelled to go through with the deal because they have already made a commitment, invested time, and perhaps even mentally justified their choice. In personal relationships, low-balling can occur when one person offers a favorable promise or gesture only to later backpedal or change the terms after the other person has already committed emotionally or practically. For example, a partner might promise to contribute equally to shared responsibilities, such as housework or finances, only to later renegotiate the deal once the other person has invested time and energy into believing that the arrangement will work. The one who originally made the favorable promise knows that the other person will be reluctant to back out, even if the terms change unfavorably. The psychological mechanism behind low-balling is deeply tied to commitment and consistency. Once we make a decision, we tend to stick with it in order to appear consistent with our previous choices. This desire for consistency is so strong that we may override our own best interests in order to remain consistent with the commitment we have made, even if the terms have changed. Additionally, loss aversion plays a significant role. We tend to fear loss more than we desire gain, so the thought of losing out on the deal we have committed to feels more painful than walking away from a new or better deal. The consequences of low-balling can be severe, especially in situations where the manipulator's goal is to trap the person into agreeing to unfavorable terms. In consumer behavior, it can lead to feelings of regret, frustration, and resentment. A customer may leave a purchase feeling dissatisfied because they were misled about the true cost of the product, or they may feel taken advantage of for not being fully informed. In relationships, it can lead to disillusionment and resentment, as one party feels manipulated or deceived after they have invested emotionally in a promise that was later altered or broken. These negative emotions can erode trust and damage the long-term quality of the relationship. So how can we protect ourselves from being manipulated by low-balling, and how can we avoid using this tactic on others? The first step is awareness. Recognizing when you are being manipulated with this tactic is essential. If an offer seems too good to be true, or if the terms change after you have committed, take a moment to evaluate the situation objectively. Ask yourself, is this still a fair deal, or have the terms shifted after I have already committed? Being mindful of these changes can help you make better decisions moving forward. A helpful strategy is to set clear expectations and ask questions up front. Before committing to a deal, make sure you have all the information. If someone is offering a seemingly great deal, ask for the full terms and conditions. Get everything in writing and clarify any potential additional costs or changes that could arise later. By being proactive in gathering all the facts, you reduce the chance of being blindsided later on. Another technique is to allow for time and space before making a final commitment. In situations like major purchases or decisions, take time to reflect on the terms of the deal before committing emotionally or practically. If you feel any uncertainty or discomfort, ask for a delay or a chance to reconsider. This pause can help you step back from the emotional pressure of commitment and make a more informed decision. In workplace environments, it is important to have clear contracts and expectations, especially when negotiating salaries, bonuses, or job responsibilities. Make sure all promises and terms are documented and mutually agreed upon before you fully commit. If changes occur after you have agreed to something, do not hesitate to question them or seek clarification. Protecting your professional interests is vital to maintaining your autonomy and well-being in the workplace. In personal relationships, the key to avoiding lowballing is maintaining honesty and transparency. If someone makes you an offer or promises something, be clear about your expectations and ask for clarification on the details. If the terms change, communicate your discomfort and reassess the situation. Open communication ensures that both parties are on the same page and that no one feels manipulated or coerced into accepting unfair terms. Lowballing is a subtle yet powerful manipulation tactic that plays on our natural desire for consistency and fear of loss. By recognizing the signs of lowballing, setting clear expectations, taking time to consider decisions, and fostering open communication, we can protect ourselves from being manipulated. Healthy relationships, whether personal or professional, should be built on trust, transparency, and fairness, not on manipulation and unfair changes in terms. By staying vigilant and assertive in our decisions, we can avoid being trapped by low-balling tactics and create more balanced, equitable exchanges in all areas of life. And then, there is another psychological technique that taps into our decision-making processes, guiding us to act in ways that align with external expectations, even when it may not be in our best interest. Mirror and matching. Have you ever walked into a room and immediately felt at ease with someone, even though you did not know them well? Maybe their gestures, tone, or even body language felt strangely familiar, almost as if they were on the same wavelength as you. This feeling of connection might be more than just a coincidence. It could be the result of a psychological tactic known as mirror and matching. It is a technique where one person subtly copies the behavior, movements, or speech patterns of another to build rapport, create connection, or subtly influence their decisions. We have all experienced it, whether we realized it or not. Have you ever noticed that when you are speaking with someone, you begin to match their posture, tone of voice, or even their gestures? This is mirror and matching in action. Humans are naturally empathetic creatures, and we tend to feel more comfortable with people who share similarities with us. The technique works by creating a sense of synchrony, where the mirrored actions or words lead the other person to feel as though they are in tune with us. This subconscious imitation creates a bond, making the other person feel that we understand them on a deeper level. In sales and negotiations, mirror and matching is often used deliberately to establish trust and increase the likelihood of a positive outcome. A salesperson may adopt a potential customer's tone, pace, and body language to make them feel more at ease, lowering their guard and making them more likely to make a purchase. If the salesperson mirrors the customer's enthusiasm, posture, or speech, the customer feels more connected, which builds rapport and increases the salesperson's chance of success. This tactic is not about manipulation in a malicious sense, but rather about building connection and fostering trust. In personal relationships, mirror and matching can also be a tool for deepening bonds. When two people begin to mimic each other's body language or speech patterns, it creates a sense of empathy and understanding. It is a natural way of demonstrating that we are on the same page. For example, if you notice your partner mirroring your posture while you talk, it is likely because they are subconsciously trying to signal connection and understanding. This shared behavior is often a sign that the relationship is comfortable and that both parties are emotionally attuned to each other. The psychological mechanism behind mirror and matching lies in the principle of social mimicry, where humans instinctively imitate the actions and behaviors of those around them as a way to foster connection and understanding. This is especially true when we feel positive emotions towards someone. When we mirror someone's movements or speech, our brain releases dopamine, a neurotransmitter associated with pleasure and bonding. This makes the interaction feel pleasant and rewarding, reinforcing the connection between the two individuals. The consequences of mirror and matching can be both positive and negative, depending on how the technique is used. In positive interactions, it can foster deeper connections, improve communication, and enhance understanding. It helps to break down barriers, create empathy, and form stronger bonds. However, when used manipulatively, it can subtly influence someone's behavior or decisions without them realizing it. This becomes particularly problematic when mirror and matching is used to push someone into agreeing to something they otherwise would not have, such as in high-pressure sales situations or in relationships where one person is trying to exert control over the other. So, how can we protect ourselves from being subtly influenced by mirror and matching? And how can we use this technique ethically to foster genuine connections? The first step is awareness. Recognizing when someone is mirroring your behavior can help you assess whether the connection is genuine or whether it is being used to influence you. Pay attention to subtle cues in the other person's body language, tone, and speech patterns. Are they mimicking you intentionally, or is it an unconscious display of empathy and connection? If it feels manipulative, it is important to take a step back and evaluate the relationship or situation more critically. A helpful strategy is to maintain emotional awareness. Mirror and matching works most effectively when we are emotionally engaged in a situation. Being aware of your emotions during interactions can help you assess whether the connection you are feeling is authentic or influenced by someone else's actions. If you feel yourself being pulled in a particular direction or becoming overly agreeable, pause and ask yourself if this decision aligns with your own values and intentions, or if it is simply a result of subconscious mimicry. Another technique is to encourage open communication. In both personal and professional relationships, the key to ensuring that connections are genuine is fostering transparency. If you notice that someone is mirroring your actions or words, it may be worth engaging in a conversation about how you both communicate and relate to each other. By discussing the role of mirroring in creating rapport, you can create a more conscious and authentic connection, where both parties are aware of how they are influencing one another. In work environments, particularly in sales and negotiation scenarios, be mindful of how mirroring is used as a tool for influence. If you are negotiating or interacting with a colleague, pay attention to how they are trying to establish rapport through mirroring and ask yourself whether this is affecting your judgment. Maintaining clarity about your goals and being mindful of your own body language and tone can help you stay grounded in the conversation without being unduly influenced. In personal relationships, mirror and matching can be used to enhance intimacy and connection, but it is important to ensure that both parties are aware of their actions and that the relationship is balanced. Mirroring should come naturally and without manipulation. When both people in a relationship feel emotionally connected and attuned, mirroring can serve as a tool for fostering trust and deepening understanding. However, it should never be used to pressure someone into compliance or to create an unbalanced dynamic where one person is subtly controlling the other. Mirror and matching is a natural and powerful tool that can help people connect on a deeper level. By recognizing when it is used consciously or unconsciously, we can protect ourselves from subtle manipulation and use this technique ethically to build genuine connections. Whether in personal relationships, sales, or negotiations, the key is to remain aware of the dynamics at play and ensure that the connection is based on mutual respect, understanding, and authentic engagement. And then, there is another technique that taps into our social instincts, subtly guiding us toward decisions that align with others' behaviors and expectations. The Zeigarnik Effect. Have you ever been in the middle of a task, perhaps at work or even something at home, and found that the moment you step away from it, you cannot stop thinking about it? It is as if the unfinished task lingers in your mind, pulling your attention away from other activities. Or perhaps you have been in a conversation and left it with an unresolved question or point, only to find that it continues to circle in your thoughts long after the conversation has ended. This is the Zeigarnik Effect, a psychological phenomenon that explains why we tend to remember incomplete tasks more vividly than completed ones. The Zeigarnik Effect was named after Russian psychologist Bluma Zeigarnik, who discovered this effect in the 1920s. She observed that people are able to recall details of unfinished tasks with greater clarity than those that were completed. Zeigarnik's research revealed that when we leave a task unfinished, our brains create a kind of tension, a cognitive, open loop that keeps the task in our minds until it is completed. In a sense, the The brain keeps reminding us about unfinished tasks, urging us to return to them and resolve the tension. This effect operates in many areas of life, from personal projects to work tasks, and even in social situations. The uncompleted tasks sit like open windows in our minds, constantly requesting our attention. This might explain why a simple, incomplete task, like a phone call you have not returned or a work email you have not answered, can become a source of constant distraction. It is not that we do not want to complete these tasks. Rather, our brains are actively trying to resolve the tension caused by leaving them unfinished. In this way, the Zeigarnik Effect pushes us to close these cognitive loops, to bring a sense of closure to whatever we have started. In workplace settings, the Zeigarnik Effect can be both a help and a hindrance. On one hand, it can help people stay focused on their tasks, driving them to complete assignments by keeping the tasks mentally present and active. This is particularly useful for tasks that are difficult or seem overwhelming, as the brain keeps pushing us to finish what we started. On the other hand, the Zeigarnik Effect can cause unnecessary stress and anxiety, especially when multiple tasks are left incomplete, leaving us mentally overwhelmed and unable to focus on the present moment. In personal relationships, the Zeigarnik Effect can play a role when a conversation is left unresolved or when emotions are left unaddressed. If a disagreement or discussion ends without closure, the unfinished nature of the conversation tends to linger in one's mind, making it harder to focus on other things. This can lead to ruminating thoughts or unnecessary tension, even when the actual topic may not require any further attention. The brain, however, is unable to simply let it go because the emotional or cognitive loop is still open. The psychological mechanism behind the Zeigarnik Effect is tied to cognitive tension. When we engage in a task, our minds naturally seek closure. This is an essential part of how our cognitive systems work. Unfinished tasks create a kind of unfinished business, which our brains want to resolve in order to restore a sense of balance. This creates an internal drive to continue working on the task, even when other activities might seem more pressing. The tension caused by an incomplete task is, in essence, the brain's way of motivating us to finish what we started. The consequences of the Zeigarnik Effect can be both positive and negative. On the positive side, it can serve as a motivating force that drives us to complete our tasks and clear our mental to-do list. It is especially helpful when managing long-term projects or when we feel overwhelmed, as it keeps us focused on the end goal. On the negative side, the Zeigarnik Effect can lead to mental clutter, where we feel overwhelmed by the number of open tasks in our minds, leading to stress, anxiety, and difficulty focusing on the present. The constant pull of unfinished business can create cognitive overload, leaving us unable to relax or be fully present in our current activities. So, how can we manage the Zeigarnik Effect and reduce the stress it causes without allowing it to detract from our productivity? The first step is prioritization. When faced with a long list of tasks, it is important to recognize which ones are most urgent or important, and focus on completing those first. By closing a few key cognitive loops, you can reduce the mental clutter and gain a sense of relief, allowing your mind to focus on other things. Prioritizing tasks helps ensure that you are not overwhelmed by the need to finish everything at once. Another helpful technique is to chunk tasks. Breaking large tasks into smaller, more manageable steps can give you the satisfaction of completing smaller tasks and providing your brain with a sense of closure more often. Instead of leaving a major project completely unfinished, focus on finishing one section at a time, which will allow your mind to feel a sense of accomplishment and closure while preventing tasks from accumulating in your mental to-do list. A time management system, like the Pomodoro technique, is another great way to manage the Zeigarnik Effect. By setting aside focused intervals of time to work on a task, followed by short breaks, you can create a sense of progress and completion in each interval. This allows you to keep moving forward on your projects while giving your brain the sense of closure that it craves without feeling overwhelmed. In personal relationships, the key to avoiding the negative impact of the Zeigarnik Effect is to encourage open and honest communication. When conversations or issues are left unresolved, it is essential to address them promptly, rather than letting them fester. By creating a habit of addressing conflicts and emotions as they arise, you reduce the mental tension that comes with unresolved business, allowing both parties to move forward without unnecessary ruminating. In work environments, setting clear goals and deadlines can help manage the Zeigarnik Effect. When tasks are well-defined and broken down into smaller steps, the brain is more likely to stay focused and motivated to complete them. It is important to establish clear markers of progress so that your mind can recognize when a task has been completed and give you the mental closure you need. Additionally, maintaining a clutter-free workspace and reducing distractions can help you stay focused on the task at hand, rather than being pulled into the cycle of unfinished business. The Zeigarnik Effect is a natural cognitive tendency that can either motivate us to complete tasks or overwhelm us with mental clutter. By recognizing its influence and implementing strategies like prioritization, task chunking, time management, and open communication, we can harness the Zeigarnik Effect to increase productivity and reduce stress. Ultimately, the key is to balance the need for closure with the understanding that some tasks take time and cannot always be completed in one sitting. And then, there is another psychological force that keeps us fixated on incomplete tasks, gently guiding us back to our unfinished business without us even realizing it. Divide and conquer tactics. Imagine you are in a meeting at work, surrounded by your colleagues. The discussion is tense, and there is disagreement on how to approach a project. Suddenly, someone in the room points out a small mistake or flaw in one of the ideas. They use this mistake to sow seeds of doubt, casting a shadow on the proposed solution. As the conversation progresses, divisions begin to form. Some are now questioning the idea, while others are defending it, creating an atmosphere of discord. This is not just a coincidence. It is a classic case of divide and conquer, a psychological manipulation tactic used to break down unity, reduce resistance, and establish control over a group. Divide and conquer works by creating or exploiting conflicts or disagreements within a group, forcing members to choose sides, thereby distracting them from the original issue. By fostering divisions, the manipulator makes it easier to control the group, as the focus shifts from collaboration and problem-solving to defending individual positions. This tactic weakens the collective strength of the group and makes it less likely that members will cooperate or challenge the authority of the person behind the tactic. In workplace settings, divide and conquer can manifest in subtle ways. A manager may foster competition between team members, either by pitting them against each other or by promoting one person over others. This creates an environment where employees are focused on outdoing one another rather than working together for the common good of the team or organization. The manipulator, in this case, may have the appearance of a neutral party, but by creating an atmosphere of competition, they reduce the collective power of the team and ensure their own position of control remains intact. In familial relationships, divide and conquer can also take place. A family member might create tension between siblings by playing one against the other, often using selective praise or criticism to stir up resentment. By doing so, the manipulator ensures that family members are distracted by their differences, preventing them from uniting to address larger family issues or concerns. This keeps the manipulator in a position of power, as the focus remains on internal conflicts instead of resolving external problems. The psychological mechanism behind divide and conquer lies in the manipulation of group dynamics. When a group is unified, it has power to challenge authority, power to collaborate effectively, and power to resist manipulation. However, when divisions are introduced, the group's strength diminishes. People become focused on their own agendas, losing sight of the collective good. The manipulator exploits this by turning the group's attention inward, making them more likely to engage in internal conflict rather than working toward a common goal. This strategy relies on psychological fragmentation, where the unity of the group is broken down into smaller factions, each with their own competing interests. The consequences of divide and conquer can be far-reaching. In work environments, it can lead to reduced collaboration, low morale, and lack of trust. Employees who are pitted against each other may feel unsupported or undervalued, leading to burnout and disengagement.
Over time, the collective strength of the team weakens, and productivity may suffer as individuals focus more on personal gain or self-preservation than on working together towards shared goals. It can also lead to office politics, taking precedence over the work itself, making it difficult to achieve progress. In familial relationships, divide and conquer can create long-lasting rifts between family members. Siblings may become estranged, or parents may find themselves in constant conflict with one another. The emotional toll of these divisions can be significant, leaving family members feeling isolated and emotionally drained. The manipulator, in this case, remains in control, as they continue to exploit the internal strife to keep the family focused on small conflicts rather than addressing larger, more important issues. So, how can we protect ourselves from the harmful effects of divide and conquer tactics? And how can we avoid using them to manipulate others? The first step is awareness. Recognizing when divide and conquer is being used is essential in protecting yourself and your relationships. If you notice that someone is trying to turn you against another person or group, it is important to stop and ask, what is the real issue here? Why is this person trying to create divisions among us? Awareness is the first line of defense against manipulation. A helpful strategy is to encourage open communication. When conflicts arise, it is important to foster a space where people can express their concerns openly and honestly, without fear of judgment or retaliation. In work environments, this might mean creating opportunities for team members to share their ideas and concerns in a safe, non-judgmental setting. In families, it means creating an environment where every member feels heard and valued, so that divisions cannot easily take hold. By addressing the issue head-on and encouraging collaboration, you can reduce the chances of divide and conquer tactics being effective. Another technique is to build trust within groups and relationships. Trust is the foundation of unity, and when people feel they can rely on one another, they are less likely to fall for divisive tactics. In professional settings, trust is built through transparency, accountability, and mutual respect. In personal relationships, trust is built through consistent positive communication and actions that show commitment to the well-being of the relationship. By fostering trust, you make it harder for manipulators to create divisions, as people will be more likely to work together in times of conflict. In work environments, leadership plays a crucial role in preventing divide and conquer tactics from taking hold. Leaders should model collaboration, fairness, and inclusivity, ensuring that all team members feel valued and respected. When people feel like they are part of a cohesive team with a common purpose, they are less likely to engage in competitive behaviors that divide the group. Leaders should also be vigilant in spotting early signs of division and take steps to address them before they escalate. In familial relationships, it is important to set boundaries and maintain emotional clarity. If you notice that someone is trying to create division within the family, it is essential to address the issue directly and assert your boundaries. Encourage other family members to do the same, so that the manipulator's tactics are recognized and neutralized. Foster a culture of support, understanding, and mutual respect to ensure that family members feel united and are not easily divided. Divide and conquer is a powerful tactic that can undermine the strength and unity of any group. By recognizing when it is being used, encouraging open communication, building trust, and fostering collaboration, we can protect ourselves from this manipulation and create stronger, more resilient relationships. Whether at work, in families, or within social circles, true strength lies in the collective efforts of a united group, not in the divisions sown by those who seek to control. And then, there is another influence that operates behind the scenes, subtly guiding us to act in ways that prioritize individual agendas over collective good. Exploiting mirror neurons. Ever had one of those chats where you just vibe with the other person's feelings? Like, when they smile, you can't help but grin back, or when they frown, you feel that too. That's not just a fluke. It's your mirror neurons doing their thing. These little guys in your brain let you tap into others' emotions like they were your own. It's a natural way to build empathy, but hey, it can also be used to pull some sneaky tricks on you. Pretty wild, right?
Exploiting mirror neurons involves using the innate connection between your brain and the emotions of others to influence their behavior or decisions without them even realizing it. The mirroring effect helps us bond with others by aligning ourselves emotionally and physically. When someone smiles at you, you smile back, and the emotional connection deepens. This is a natural response, a way for humans to communicate and connect. However, this mirroring effect can be taken advantage of in various social interactions, such as sales, negotiations, or even personal relationships. In sales, for example, a salesperson might consciously mirror a customer's body language, tone of voice, or facial expressions to create a sense of rapport. By matching the customer's energy, they make the buyer feel more comfortable and understood. This mirroring can subtly increase trust and make the buyer more likely to make a purchase. The salesperson may even reflect the customer's emotions, showing excitement if the customer expresses enthusiasm about a product or concern if they express doubt. This builds a connection, making the customer feel as though they are understood on a deeper level. The mirroring can be so effective that the buyer feels more inclined to act in a way that satisfies the salesperson's goals, often without realizing the subtle influence at play. In personal relationships, mirror neurons also play a role in creating emotional closeness. When someone you care about shares their feelings, you instinctively reflect their emotions, whether joy, sadness, or frustration. This emotional mirroring helps foster empathy and understanding. However, when someone deliberately exploits this emotional connection, they can manipulate your feelings or responses. For example, if a partner consistently mirrors your vulnerabilities and emotions but uses them to manipulate your decisions or behaviors, they are leveraging your neural empathy pathways to subtly influence you. The psychological mechanism behind the exploitation of mirror neurons is rooted in empathy and emotional contagion. Humans are wired to connect emotionally with others, and this connection is reinforced by the mirroring of facial expressions, body language, and vocal tones. This natural empathetic response strengthens social bonds and enhances communication. However, manipulators exploit this by creating an emotional resonance that aligns with their own agenda. By subtly mirroring someone's feelings, they can influence their behavior, making them more likely to act in a way that benefits the manipulator. The consequences of exploiting mirror neurons can be profound. In personal relationships, this tactic can lead to emotional dependency, where one person feels manipulated into pleasing or complying with the other's desires. This can cause a loss of personal autonomy, as the individual becomes emotionally attuned to the manipulator's needs and desires, sometimes to the detriment of their own. In work environments, it can foster an unhealthy dynamic where one person, such as a manager or colleague, uses emotional mirroring to manipulate others into compliance without them realizing it. Over time, this can lead to burnout, emotional exhaustion, and a diminished sense of self-worth, as people begin to feel that their decisions are no longer their own. So, how can we protect ourselves from the manipulation that arises from the exploitation of mirror neurons? And how can we use this empathetic connection ethically to foster healthy relationships? The first step is awareness. Recognizing when someone is deliberately mirroring your emotions or behavior is key to understanding whether they are simply building rapport or trying to manipulate you. Pay attention to whether the emotional connection feels genuine or if it seems to be geared toward pushing you toward a specific decision or action. A helpful strategy is to maintain emotional boundaries. In any interaction, it is essential to stay in tune with your own emotional state and recognize when someone's actions or behavior are influencing how you feel or act. If you notice that you are beginning to feel emotionally swayed or manipulated, take a moment to step back and reassess the situation. Ask yourself, am I reacting because this is truly what I want or feel, or because someone is subtly guiding my emotions to match theirs? Another technique is to encourage conscious communication. In both personal and professional relationships, open and transparent communication can help reduce the potential for emotional manipulation. When you feel emotionally connected to someone, ask questions and seek clarification on their intentions. By fostering an environment where both parties are conscious of how they are influencing each other emotionally, you create a space where genuine connection can flourish without manipulation. In sales or negotiations, maintain a clear understanding of your own goals and needs. Recognizing when someone is using mirroring to create rapport is important, but it is equally essential to stay grounded in your own objectives. If you are making a significant purchase, for example, take your time to assess the value of the deal without being overly influenced by emotional mirroring. Being aware of the manipulative potential of this tactic can help you make more informed decisions that align with your true desires rather than being swayed by emotional resonance. In personal relationships, healthy emotional boundaries are key to ensuring that emotional mirroring is used in an ethical way. If you notice that a partner or friend is using emotional manipulation through mirroring, communicate your concerns and express your needs. Healthy relationships are based on mutual respect and the ability to express oneself authentically. When mirroring becomes a tool for control, it is crucial to address it and re-establish balanced emotional exchanges. Exploiting mirror neurons is a subtle yet powerful manipulation tactic that takes advantage of our natural empathy. By recognizing when this tactic is being used and maintaining emotional boundaries, we can protect ourselves from emotional manipulation while fostering healthy, ethical relationships. True connection comes from mutual understanding, not from the manipulation of our neural pathways for someone else's gain. And then, there is another influence that subtly guides our behavior, causing us to act in ways that align with expectations we did not even realize we were following. Neuro-Linguistic Programming, NLP. Imagine you are speaking with someone, and they say something that immediately resonates with you, aligning perfectly with your feelings and thoughts. You feel understood on a deep level, as though they have spoken your truth without you even saying it. This sense of connection can feel powerful, and before you know it, you are agreeing with their ideas, even if you are not entirely sure why. This is an example of Neuro-Linguistic Programming, NLP, in action. NLP is a psychological approach that involves using language, behavior, and neurological patterns to influence the thoughts, feelings, and actions of others, often without them even realizing it. Developed in the 1970s by Richard Bandler and John Grinder, NLP is based on the premise that by understanding the relationship between language, behavior, and neurological processes, you can effectively change someone's behavior or perception. It operates on the idea that our thoughts and behaviors are shaped by how we process sensory information, and by altering this processing, you can shift someone's mental and emotional states. NLP practitioners believe that by changing the way someone thinks, they can achieve specific outcomes, such as influencing decisions, changing beliefs, or even enhancing personal performance. At its core, NLP involves using specific techniques to alter an individual's thought patterns or responses. One such technique is anchoring, which involves associating a particular feeling or state of mind with a physical gesture or phrase. For example, if a person is in a relaxed, confident state, a practitioner might use a specific word or touch to anchor that feeling to the word or touch. Later, by repeating that word or touch, the individual can be brought back into that relaxed, confident state. This technique can be used for positive purposes, such as helping someone feel more confident before a public speaking engagement, or for more manipulative purposes, such as influencing someone's emotional response in a sales pitch or negotiation. Another NLP technique is mirroring, which involves subtly copying another person's body language, speech patterns, or tone of voice. This is done to build rapport and establish a sense of connection, making the other person feel more comfortable and understood. Mirroring can create a sense of trust, as the person feels that the other party is in sync with their emotional state. While this technique is often used in everyday communication to foster connection, in the hands of an NLP practitioner, it can be strategically used to influence the person's behavior or decisions. The psychological mechanism behind NLP lies in its ability to influence the unconscious mind. NLP techniques are designed to bypass the conscious filtering mechanisms of the brain, directly affecting the unconscious mind, which is more malleable and susceptible to change. By speaking to the unconscious mind, NLP can influence a person's beliefs, feelings, and behaviors in subtle ways, often without them even realizing that they have been influenced. The consequences of NLP can be profound, depending on how it is used. When used ethically, NLP can help people improve their communication skills, overcome fears, or change negative thought patterns. For example, NLP techniques are sometimes used in therapy to help individuals overcome phobias or traumatic experiences. However, when used unethically or manipulatively, NLP can be used to exploit individuals by influencing their decisions, changing their perceptions, or making them more susceptible to manipulation. In sales, marketing, or even personal relationships, NLP can be used to subtly guide someone into making choices that benefit the practitioner, often without the other person being fully aware of the manipulation at play. So how can we protect ourselves from being manipulated by NLP? And how can we use it ethically to enhance our own communication and relationships? The first step is awareness. Understanding how NLP works is key to recognizing when it is being used on you. If someone is using specific language patterns, gestures, or techniques to make you feel a certain way, or influence your decisions, it is important to step back and evaluate whether these feelings are genuinely yours, or if they have been triggered by external manipulation. A helpful strategy is to stay grounded in your own values. If someone is using NLP to influence you, it is important to stay connected to your own beliefs, desires, and goals. When you are clear about what you want and what aligns with your values, you are less likely to be swayed by subtle influences. Practicing mindfulness can help you become more aware of the ways in which others may be trying to influence you, allowing you to make more conscious and deliberate decisions. Another technique is to ask clarifying questions. If someone is using language or behavior that feels manipulative or makes you uncomfortable, ask them for more details. For example, if a salesperson is using certain language to make you feel compelled to buy something, ask them to explain the benefits or details of the product in a way that removes any emotional pressure. This can help you regain control of the situation and make decisions based on facts rather than emotional triggers. In personal relationships, setting clear emotional boundaries can help prevent the unethical use of NLP. If you feel that someone is using NLP techniques to manipulate your feelings or actions, it is important to communicate your boundaries openly. Make sure that your relationship is built on mutual respect, honesty, and transparency, rather than on hidden tactics designed to influence your behavior. In professional environments, leaders and managers can use NLP ethically to improve communication, enhance team performance, and create a positive, motivating environment. However, it is important to ensure that these techniques are used transparently and with respect for the autonomy and well-being of others. Manipulating colleagues or clients through NLP for personal gain can damage trust and create an unhealthy work culture. NLP is a powerful tool that can be used to influence others by tapping into the unconscious mind. While it can be used ethically to enhance communication and improve personal growth, it can also be used manipulatively to guide others into making decisions that align with someone else's agenda. By staying aware of NLP techniques and maintaining emotional boundaries, we can protect ourselves from manipulation while using the techniques ethically to foster positive relationships and achieve personal growth.